are here. We are here. I got told that I'm an old soldier up in here. Proud to be one. Woo! I'm an old soldier. I'm the old soldier, baby. We're going to finish the debate for BGS's channel. Woo! We here. We live, baby. We live. All my military personnel, where are you? Hit me up. Please like, share, subscribe. Woo! Come on out. Come on out. Woo! We are here and we are live, baby. We are live in the living color. I'm here. Everybody's favorite hero. What's up? Waiting for everybody to come on. Want to finish this shit. I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to military politics. Once the military, always the military. I'm about to make some goddamn shrimp burgers, but shit, before I cook, I'm going to cook on these YouTube platters, man. God dang. Come on now. Niggas think I was born yesterday. Nigga, I ain't new to this. I'm true to this shit. Man. I've been holding up God and country before most niggas were even born. The hell? I mean... What's up? I'm going to put the link in the chat. No box guaranteed shit. When you a soldier, it's damn near guaranteed. Damn near. Shit. Let's keep it funky, monkey. Let's keep it not real, but true. I'm going to put this link in the chat. Let's finish this shit. I want somebody to tell me what's different than what it was. Please come over here and tell me what's different than what it was when I was in. And I'm going to tell you, not a motherfucking thing. A lot of niggas come into the military for snatch. Come on. What's the difference now? That's the link. I want to see what it's about now. I literally changed my motherfucking topic today. I'm waiting. I want to hear this good shit. I want to hear the good news, Lord. I want to hear the good news. Hey, what's up, Brian? I want to hear the good news.
Who's on the chopping block now?
Huh?
Who's on the chopping block?
You had an E5, an E6, and an 03 in the military going at it. I want to hear this. Do you think some black boys go to the military to escape their mothers? Yes and no. Most young men go to the military despite being with their mothers.
I can agree with that. And I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen.
You know, I'm about to make some shrimp burgers. Before I fucking bake, I'm gonna shake and I'm gonna cook on this motherfucker. Please
Charles,
ask me any questions you want. I'm gonna answer it. I'm just waiting for my two guys who had a debate on BGS to come up, and we're gonna finish this motherfucker right.
Then I will step out of the way and I will listen.
Always a pleasure, Snowman.
Wife's cooking dinner, waiting on that to get done. And I will let y'all know right now, 10 p.m. tonight, Snowman's going unfiltered.
Hell yeah, you better.
I'm going unfiltered tonight.
Give Jody a kiss for me and tell her the champ said hello.
But yeah, I'll put the link in the matter of fact, let me put this up right now. And I'll put the subject along with it, because after the talk we had last night
that motivated. Speaking of which, hey there, Captain Jack. Meet me down by the railroad track with that info.
What's going on, man?
Lord knows I'm a big shooting man.
What's up, Captain Jack?
Come up here too. It's really sad. It's not, and I'm not coming on here, argue another black man, because I don't really see too much of a point of that. It's just really sad to hear. Even when he was leaving out at the end of the conversation, he was like, no one wants to be an aide de camp. But little does he know that his general officer that is in charge of his post, whether it's a division size or 2 brigade size elements or a force comm element if he's in DC, he doesn't understand that his general has been an aide. Every GO that's in the Army has been an aide. Most enlisted seniors have been enlisted aides at some point, have been drivers for division sergeant majors, 4 sergeant majors. So he doesn't understand.
You're not even allowed to drive your own vehicles.
Yeah, he doesn't understand the stuff that goes in. And when he was trying to pull I'm a combat arms guy, I'm the son of a combat arms grandfather, combat arms, great grandfather, combat arms. You know what every single one of them have told me not to do going into the military is motherfucking combat arms.
But I'm gonna tell you, we got my man here. We got him here. See, I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, we here, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on.
I don't see no Rangers flag. I don't see nothing.
Hey, I'm the colonel with this motherfucker at ease, soldiers. God damn.
Well, let me step out of the way. I got the link to my channel in the description, and I'm going live at 10 p.m.
Before
tonight.
you leave, 10 p.m. Guess what? Go to Snowman Unfiltered. If you can't watch it live, watch it on the record. Guess what? He's giving you such a deep and profound subject matter. Can black men ever have a bad day? Whoa!
And I'm gonna share a few of my and I'm gonna share a few of my very personal stories that I shared last night, but it's gonna be in more detail. That'll come your way in about 100 minutes. So sit back, relax, and strap it down.
Got an echo going on.
I got to tell you this. Number one, I had to go to a senior NCO. She retired as an E8. That lady said, though I may not always be in, I shall forever remain a warrior. I've been a warrior longer than most people been born. See, we're going to do it fair. We're going to do it great. Since V was first up, introduce yourself, rank. Don't give your SSN. Tell them what type of work you do, and the same courtesy is going to go to mental agility. Woo, V first.
Yeah, so certified POG here. You know what I'm saying? POG.
Man. Get it
right.
My bad. Pause it real quick. Certified POG here. Man. You know what I'm saying? I was did my platoon leader time, 2 platoons, did my EXO time, did my aid time, just finished up Air Assault Pathfinder. Couldn't get airborne because the class was backed up. 4th generation military man, first one to be an officer, accounting and finance background and degrees. Plan on going into AI systems management after whenever I get my chance to go do my ACS college work. Any questions that Mental Agility has for me in regards to what his dispute is between what I have to say today, and what he thinks he disagrees on, I'm more than happy to be with. But if it's going to be personal attacks about what I can and can't do, I'm physically capable, mentally capable, and I can shoot. So I don't really know what else a soldier needs to be besides those things and know his job. So,
And what's your rank, sir?
I'm a triple C currently on my way there, PCS in there here shortly, and be a captain. So,
yep. Now, mental agility, your turn.
Hey, what's going on with the Hey, what's going on with the echo? Is the echo gone?
No, I'm just giving you your turn to speak and introduce yourself, rank and file. What do you do for a living? Go ahead.
Let me drop out and come back in. Let me drop out and come back in. I will introduce myself, but let me drop out and come back in.
All right.
I don't hear echo on his end, Charles. I don't know if you do.
Do you hear an echo now?
No, I don't hear. I didn't hear echo at all. Besides the snowman maybe echoing a little bit, but that was it. But yeah, just to build off what you were saying earlier, Charles, I think that it's when it comes to talking about the military, I know you were the expertise on that. You even went into it in the private sector as you are in right now. You know what I'm saying? And probably were in the public sector with it after you retired. Both my parents are in the public sector as well. So I don't think that people understand. If we were just talking about the topic that BGS was saying, there are reasons that people get married in the military. He did have some poignant points about why he thinks that some of the men that were coming and crying on his shoulder in the infantry would get married and how they was getting, fucked over by these women. That's going to happen to anybody in the real world, the civilian world or the military world. But what I think that he is going by him in his head, is going over his head, is the fact that he doesn't get that people won't only get married for those reasons. People get married for other reasons as well. So
yeah, you got to understand something. I guess he's back. Let him introduce himself. You good?
Yeah. We good here. We good.
Introduce yourself, rank, file. What do you do?
All right, cool.
MOS, and all that other good stuff.
All right, cool. So I'm Staff Sergeant Dansby, 17 years military, infantry, 4 combat tours, 2 tours to Iraq, 1 tour to Afghanistan, all in leadership position. I've spent over 48 months downrange. Work at the military district of, I'm not even going to say it because I don't want to get doxxed.
What I'm doing right. Anything that will get you doxxed. No, we don't do doxing here. I had to jump.
Yeah, I get it, but I don't know who else is here. So, I'm in charge of coordinating ceremonies, operations at a high level, from anything from professional organizations to dignitaries at the White House, at the Capitol, and at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So I just leave it at that. Highly decorated, accomplished. I've done everything that I need to do to get to the next level. However, I've made some mistakes in my personal life that hindered my growth.
That's part of the military. Nobody gets in the military and doesn't do dumb shit. Both officer, warrant officer, and enlisted.
You must be crazy.
Shit, trust me.
Different army.
That's the army. God damn it.
Different army.
Everybody does dumb shit.
He got a clean slate over there. Please believe that.
Some people are
fortunate right
where they are. I'm just going to introduce myself for those who don't know me. My name is Charles L. Faulkner Jr., a.k.a. That Nigga. Did my time, joined the U.S. Glorious Army in 99. God damn, I feel old. Started out in the Quartermaster Corps, Fort Lee. Went over to Iraq, volunteered for the QRF, was trained in small, SWAT-like, and very, very tactical in counterinsurgency and counterterrorism. Came out of the military in 99, even though I went to reserve. Went back to reserve, compost, but was a member of the Baltimore Police Department from 07 to 21, and the beautiful Northern District. Man, I got a lot of miles on my knees. Shit. And now, the colonel and commander of his own security firm, private detection agency, and also executive protection. And I just signed paperwork to become a police supervisor I'm either going in as a fucking sergeant or lieutenant. We'll talk about that on the 30th on the orientation. So your boy's back in blue. Um, I've spent many of years. I was did 18 months in Iraq. You know, Operation Iraqi Freedom 2. You know, the best part of that shit
Mm.
when they started blowing us back up. But you know, we started shooting them down. When I mean QRF, quick reactionary team, guess what? We rescued a lot of lost Marines who couldn't find their way in Fallujah. Now, folks, now. The ground rules, we're going to give each other the other man to speak. We're going to give each other due respect. And I like to say it, um, thank you both for your continued service. Woo! We're going to
It's an
start.
honor.
We're going to start with the E6. And what do you, because this is not only a debate, but we want to see what do you see on the ground floor, because most of the time you got to deal with the knuckleheads coming straight out of basic and curb a lot of behavior. What do you see going on? And what year did you come in?
2006.
So when you came in, I was damn near going to my second police department.
See,
So
and I went through the surge. 14 months in Iraq.
oh yeah, fun place to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to remember when I went through Iraq, that's when they started the fucking the VVIDs and shit.
Yeah, the second time I went in Iraq, it was the VFPs. It was the bombs that they had that you cannot stop. There was not enough armor that you could put up to stop it.
No. And then just to let people know, I am the fourth generation to go to war. My war was Iraqi freedom. My dad's war was Vietnam. My grandfather's Korea. My great grandfather World War II.
Yeah,
And the
but
picture you see on the thumbnail, that's actually my nephew who's in active duty in Texas. Oh, but go ahead and tell us what you see with the modern army or the modern military is producing and your representative and your representation, and we're gonna give it to V when you're done.
good. What I see in the army today, what I see in the military today is a bunch of individuals that have lost their way. They literally come in because they don't have any other direction to go, and then their superiors have lost their way, so they can't even guide these individuals in the right direction. So when I came to my organization, I tried to talk these soldiers out of situations that they're about to get themselves into, and it wasn't a good situation. They got in the situation and they came to me and they were like, you know what? You were right, but I'm stuck. What can I do? And I'm like, hey man, you up shit's creek right now. You just gotta battle it out. I hope you can make good out of the situation that you put yourself in. And here's the deal, like I said over there on BGS's stream, is that there are a lot more white soldiers in the military than black soldiers and Hispanic soldiers. So I get the brunt of it. They come to me because I'm different. They feel like they can come to me because I don't look like them and I don't look like the other leaders. That's what I'm saying when I told you what these soldiers come into this military with. They will come to me and be honest. Yo, I love her. She's everything to me. I don't want to let her go. And I'm like, yo, you do not have to marry this individual to do that, you know? And then it's like, true story. I had a situation with two soldiers. They were best friends. And then they both were getting ready to get married. And I told them, look, bro, marry each other. You get the BAH. Y'all already got a townhouse, 2 bedroom, 2 bath. Keep it together. Y'all gonna make crazy bank. They don't want to listen to me. So while I'm saying all this to say this right here, they getting married for the trim. They are not getting married for the benefits. Yeah, the benefits is like the carrot, right? Because at the end of the day, you got to understand female nature. Female nature, they are about survival. There's some that are on a higher echelon. I'm pretty sure Sir can understand that. But there's some that are most of us are on the lower echelon. And they are talking about survival. Will they get over on you if they can? Hell yeah, they will. So that's the life that I live. You know what I'm saying? That's the life that I experience. That's what the soldiers bring to me. Those are the situations that they tell me to figure out. fixed for me because I made a mistake. Despite what you told me, I made a mistake. That's all I got.
You good to go, soldier?
Yeah, I'm good to go. So I know exactly what mental agility does. I've met his current MOS over at AUSA. I know what they do. I've talked to about 4 or 5 of the soldiers over there that hosted that event, especially when the Secretary of State came through. I met some of her soldiers that were around her. So I kind of understand what your job is in the current state right now. When it comes to the question that you asked, Charles, about the current state of the military, I think that a lot of people want to say, on the more right-leaning side, that it's all because of, the transformer stuff, the jab, where a lot of people got out. And I saw a lot of Caucasians get out of the military because of that over the past 2 years, really. But I think mostly what people don't understand is that they've updated a system called Genesis. I know that everybody has entered the military in different routes, whether that be back in, the surge time or the beginning of Iraq, like how my father went. It was a lot of, criminals that were coming out. You either go jail or you go military, you either go, or, people didn't lost their way. They didn't come from good socioeconomic backgrounds. If they were enlisted or officer and they decided, hey, I'm going to join the military. This is my only job. This is my only route that I can go, that I can get 3 hots in the cot. But nowadays, I think it's more so people don't realize the system that's being used now for people to enter into the military. There's a thing called Genesis, and it's what they do for screening for military members now. So people who want to join the military, there's a lot more hoops to go through to even become a soldier. They have camps. We used to call them fat camps back in the day when my dad was in. We call it, fat camp now too, but I forgot what it's called, ECP or something like that. I can't remember what the acronym is for it, but it's for soldiers that get in shape. And a lot of people that's joining now, they're not in shape, enlisted or officer, more so on the officer side. ABC program. Yeah, ABC program. So it's like, I think that it's mostly just because a lot of the people that are in the military, they don't see how inflation works in the Army and in the civilian world, and they don't feel like the benefits are no longer worth it. They lowered the retirement plan that they have in place now. Is if you're joined post 2018, you're in the BRS system. It's not the same system that my father had, same system that people that were in my father's generation pre-18 that retired. Well, they'll get a check to their casket drops of 45% upon retirement. It's dropped down precipitously. So I think that that's what the issue is now, is a lot of people, like you said, it's a mostly Caucasian-based enterprise. These Caucasians don't like to be told what to do. Even though they are in the Army, they take a lot of shots. I saw a lot of people get out because of the vaccine. And then number 2, it's also because of the transformer stuff that Biden has reinstated after Trump has left office. And then number 3 is because of the screening process that is used now currently in today's age that was input in the last fiscal year that is getting soldiers into the Army. And it's a different type of soldier, also because of the generation of the young men and women that are joining nowadays. And that's all I got to say to that.
Good shit by both of you. I just have to say this for a lot of people.
Can I add real quick?
Please.
So the reason why there's a difficulty for servicemen to get into the Army is because they have this program called Legacy. The system is called Legacy, and then it digs into your medical records pre-military. So it can go into your medical records as far as what you've been diagnosed with, ADHD, OCD, and all these other these diagnoses that they're giving to children right now with Big Pharma. So if you have any of this medication that's been diagnosed to you throughout your school years, you cannot join the military. Now, here's the deal with young Black men, right? A lot of us are hyper. A lot of us, we grow up in broken homes, so we don't know how to act when our mother is not around, right? So what these schools do is put you on a medication. These mothers are like, oh, well, put them on medication, I get a check, right? It messes them up when it's time for them to be adults and then take away into the military, right? So They're looking at all this stuff, right? Do you have any medical diagnoses before you come into the military? Because if you come into the military with those medical diagnoses, it'll exacerbate it, right? Which means that whatever you come through, the yelling, the screaming in basic training, you come into your unit and then you are coming across somebody that is like basically pushing your shit in, you can claim PTSD or whatever without even deploying. So what they're trying to do is save the military money because we cannot have people milking the system. Not at this point in the Army, because what a lot of people don't understand, and this is real shit, right? A lot of people don't understand is that we as a military fighting force cannot go overseas and fight with a conventional army. It's going to take the Air Force to go over and create a lot of collateral damage before we can occupy territory.
Well, that's what I spoke about years ago on BGS's channel before I started mine, is that military science, if you do not command the land, sea, and the air, you must take the system for what it is and confiscate it for your own. Would you agree? And here's another subject matter for both the officer and enlisted. Well, you're not even enlisted, you're an NCO. There's a difference, folks, by the way. What do you think of the differences between the old soldier mentality versus the new soldier that you get introduced with? What do you think of the pros and cons of both? We're going to start with V again.
All right, so pros and cons of my father's generation, right? I think it was a lot more difficult when it came to the race side of things, from how he explains to me about when I would call him and I would be complaining about just the workload itself, the op tempo that you would have within a specific unit I was in, right? Whether I'm a POG or not, a combat arms or not, I saw a lot of combat arms enlisted and officers, more so officers on my side, that were overloaded with work and expected to do the 80% number for your personnel is the new 100%. You're expected to do more with less. And during times when people had that patriotic sense of, I want to join the Army because I feel like I'm doing something, we're going to war, we have something that we can do. We're not just practicing to practice, we're practicing because we have a game. If we're going to make the analogy of, sports, they had something that they could look forward to. They had maybe not everybody was looking forward to a deployment, right? But you had something that you knew you were doing all this work for. And like Mental Agility said, we have a thing, and what he's trying to say with the Air Force piece is multi-domain operations. Okay, it's called MDO. Whenever you go to these higher echelon areas with higher echelon people, they're talking about the Army of 2030, the Army of 2040. These are multi-domain operations where they're not just looking at what we can do as an Army, how we can serve as a Marine unit, how we can serve as a naval base, how we can serve as an Air Force detachment. It's everybody combined going into a space where you have land, sea, and air operations. So when you have all of these things that are coming together, you don't have a game, so to speak, in quotes, that you're doing all this practice for. A lot of people get burnt out by that. And that's what I saw more of my soldiers going through. I don't see so many of my soldiers that I had. I had 53 in one unit of my platoon, MTOD 58. I had 48 in my second platoon, MTOD 52. I had 265 as an XO, MTOD 265. I had 240 to 245 personnel that I was in charge of. And then I worked for the GO, who was obviously in charge of the division as a whole. So over 10,000 soldiers, transient otherwise. So it didn't really see too much of like the women's side, because I don't think that a lot of the young men could, number one, afford the women that they were looking for. And then number two, the time that they had on their hands was not conducive to building relationships. And you saw that through the suicide rates that are only increasing post war and combat operations that we don't find ourselves in now in what we would call peacetime currently. So that's what I would deal with most of the soldiers that I was with, because even though him as a staff sergeant, he sees these things more so one-on-one than I would. When it comes to the administration of how to deal with these soldiers on the back end and having to go and get these people the help that they need, that's what I deal with. That's what I dealt with. It wasn't so much me trying to make sure that people had divorce papers correct, had marriage papers correct, had children in EF&P if they had some type of issue with mental health with their kids or something like that. It was more so their own individual depression on top of the op tempo of the unit with which they were in, because they felt like they had no reason to be doing as much work as they were doing because of the manning, number one, and then number two, there is no war that we're fighting currently. So that's all I gotta say.
Shout out to Mental Agility for the $10 holla. And Mental Agility, give us your take, because we know that you're the as an NCO, you're going to be dealing with more of the ground level. You're going to be dealing with E4s and above, E4s and below, and actually E5s and below.
Yeah.
And you're going to be talking, you're pretty much going to be the right-hand man of the platoon sergeant and the platoon leader. And you're pretty much in the conference room with the first sergeant. So tell us how that goes on your end.
So basically, we have a training cycle. We have a middle, mission essential task list. So we have things that we have to execute as a functioning organization, a combat unit, right? So despite everything that's going on in the world, you can look at politics, you can look at what's going on the TV. We still have to do what we need to do. And we go and do our training rotation. And if our number is called, we hope we are ready to perform, right? So with that being said, there's a lot of nuances in between that, right? And as leaders, we can differentiate who is weak and who is strong, right? If this soldier constantly comes to us about marital issues, chances are we're going to put them in the training room, we're going to put them in the arms room, we're going to get them away from operations, and then we're going to put somebody in there that's fit to fight, right? We really don't care or take a consideration of somebody's family situation. We're going to push it over there to somebody that has time for that, right? Because as leaders that are trying to get these guys fit to fight, because as infantrymen, our job is to be ready to engage the enemy in close combat, no matter what the situation is. So we got to train these soldiers to be the best that they can be. With that being said, we really cannot concern ourselves with situations outside of that, right? So it's paramount for us to get these soldiers ready to do their job, right? At the squad leader level, at the platoon sergeant level, is mission first. Mission first duty always. Shout out to the big red one, right? So a lot of individuals that are coming to the Army today, they are not built for this. They are not ready for this, because in basic training and at the recruiting level, they are pushing people in. And that's the reason why they've implemented systems to stop gate individuals coming into the Army at the recruitment level, right? Because at the end of the day, as a soldier, as a combat soldier, you have to be prepared to neutralize the target at whatever it takes, right? Now, like I said, there are a whole lot of other MOSs, a whole lot of jobs in the military that do not do the job that I do. But this is a job that I do. And I speak for the guys that are boots on ground, neutralizing targets and making sure that we reach our objective, right? So with that being said, I really cannot get emotionally involved in situations outside of my mission essential task list. That's just how it is.
So could I add on to that, Charles? So
go ahead.
I agree with what you're saying, right? But the thing is, and this is where I veer off from what you're saying, right? It's in your name. You need mental agility along with the fact that you can neutralize the enemy. And it's not just infantry that allows that to happen. And I understand I've been around very prideful combat arms members. The only reason that I'm not pure infantry myself right now is because I went through the OCS commission and pure infantry slots were taken. I was number 17 in my class of 223. And I didn't go combat honors because it was taken first in the top 10. Before the top 10 finished, pure infantry was gone. I wasn't going armor. I wasn't going field artillery, because then I had to start thinking to myself, my number one was aviation, pure infantry was number 2, and transport was number 3. And then from there it was MI, so on and so forth, right? So it's not that I don't understand the mentality that you have and the importance of what it means to be combat arms and how you're only a part of your mission essential task list. I definitely understand all about that, because I'm the one who chooses the mission essential task list as the platoon leader and briefs that to the commander of my unit. The commander is the one who briefs that mission essential task list at the QTB to the battalion commander and brigade commander. The brigade commander briefs that mission essential task list of his brigade as a whole to the division commander, and then so on and so forth. So I understand where you're coming with whenever it comes to you accomplishing your mission. But what I want you to understand, though, mental agility is, as a staff sergeant that has been in over since 17 years, you're on your way to retirement if you wanted in 3 years, and you haven't understood all the way, especially since you've been deployed, the importance of other branches to the success of your own and how you demean them through how you were talking. And I'm not saying this as being critical of you, but I think that if you take that with you going into the civilian world and you viewing others like that, I don't think that that's a good process to take. And then the last thing I'll say is, from what Charles has said in his original question, is what do I think are the good and bad of the old army and the new army? My father says that I'm in a better army than he was in when he was in, and he was in before you as well. And I understand that, because not only because I do agree that we're more individualistic as soldiers nowadays. I don't agree with that part, right?
No.
I think that there is no individualism in the army. We are an enterprise. We are the army of one, right? But there is also the piece that there are certain hurdles that are now having to be jumped over by soldiers nowadays that weren't having to be jumped over during my dad in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. They did not have access to cell phones. They did not have access to the communication. They did not have access to the outside world as we do now. They were getting sent on a mission, sent to execute, and sent to take over. And from there, they had something that they were doing. That's not what soldiers are doing now. This is peacetime operations that we're in, as you should know, being in DC. These are peacetime operations. I'm not talking about the Army of 2030, the Army of 2040, our battles with China and Russia, going to Ukraine. I'm not talking about those things, because those are SFAB, SFO units that are doing those type of operations currently, not specific infantry. Those are SFAB, SFO units that are going over there currently. But what I think is very missed by the soldier now is only the patriotism and not knowing of just individualism within themselves and only worrying about themselves and what they can take, as opposed to what my dad had. But there are definitely a lot of things that are much better in the military today than previous, because I'm not a part of that good old boy system of, oh, it was always better back in the day.
I'll tell you this one.
Well, hold on, wait. Being in the District of California, I'll be the first one to say that some of the old traditions that were there need to come back, right? If service members cannot hack it, they need to get out, right? There's no need for us to coddle those individuals. You know, we gotta restore order in the operations of what's going on today. If you can't hack it, you gotta go.
I agree with you. I definitely
gotta go.
But this is what I gotta add to that, though, is I'm 100% for everything that just came out your mouth just now in the last 30 seconds of you just talking. I'm 100% for that. But the only way that that is going to be accomplished is if there is an expedient way of dispensing these soldiers from the military. And that is a process that has to be made at levels like mine. That is not something that senior NCOs will have a part of when it comes to administration, delegation, legislation, to be able to kick soldiers out in an expedient way who are not adding to the enterprise. I agree with
who initiates the process? Because I'm confused.
The separations process. I can walk you through.
No. I initiate the process.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but
they don't come to your desk until I tell you that these soldiers are not serviceable.
But this isn't a dick measuring contest, bro. I'm telling you,
it's not a dick measuring process.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you that a staff sergeant is not going to have as much power to influence the way and process of getting soldiers out of the Army that you deem in your own mind are not worth being in the military. That is something that's going to happen at a higher level than both you and myself.
How does it get to your desk?
I'm not talking about the individual instances. I'm talking about the legislation that needs to be put in place.
No. The individual, because it's not at the legislation level. It's at our level.
It's not I'm not talking about the legislative level of the government.
I get it, but it's not there. It's where I am at. It's where I am at.
No.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
No. I'm not. I'm being dead honest with you. I'm talking about immediate separation. That is at a legislative level. There is law in place. There are processes and regulations in place for how you separate a soldier.
Yeah, it's not going to get there.
Am I right? Am I right or not? Can you agree with me on that?
You're wrong.
There's not a process to what you do. So you do.
There is a process. Yes. However,
no. Let me ask you this, and I'll let you talk. Do you separate soldiers differently than how every soldier that's been separated has done in the past?
Yes.
So you're doing something individually yourself different from the entire rest of the Army.
Absolutely.
And what can you walk us through that process?
I don't waste any time. If I feel like that you're not a service member that needs to be in this military, I will start the chapter process, and then the process to come to your desk.
Who approves the chapter process?
The company commander, which you are not right now.
No. I'm not talking. This is what I'm saying. This isn't a personal thing, man. I'm just asking you what you do in the process of separating a soldier. So once it's sent up to your company commander, you've done all the things that you can do at your level to separate a soldier. You've given the paperwork, the proper paperwork, to the next level. Where then does it go?
It goes to my company commander.
Where does it go after your company commander?
It goes up to the battalion level.
From there?
It goes up to the brigade level.
And from there?
And then once it goes to the brigade level, it goes to the division level.
Okay. And who are at your one desk as a senior?
It's an officer.
Yeah.
Because it's all administrative at that point.
No. I'm not saying that it just goes to an officer. I'm not saying this is a gotcha. I'm just telling you, because the sergeant major is the division sergeant major is the one who looks at the separations before they go to the CG. The brigade sergeant major is the one who looks at them before they go to the brigade commander. So I'm not telling you that these things don't happen. I'm just saying that there is a process, and you are not at the highest level of this process. So for this process to go, no, I'm not saying that you don't have to be. I'm telling you that because it is not at your level, if I could make it to where my platoon sergeant could just separate people on his own volition, that would make things a lot easier, would it not?
That's not reality.
But that's what I'm trying to tell you. So because it's not reality, the only way to change processes in the Army is at the regulation and legislative level. This comes out of Fort Leavenworth. Fort Leavenworth is who writes up regulations. As you know, in DC, they're the ones who write up the legislation to approve the regulations that come out of Leavenworth. So for it to happen in an expedient way, and like I said in the beginning, for it to be an expedient process, it has to be at the legislative and regulative level for it to be made easier for people who are like you that are doing it so quickly, for it to happen even quicker after you've completed your job. That's all I'm saying.
That's not reality. You got to understand that the military has invested a lot of money in this individual, getting them through MEPS into basic training. So if they invested all this money into a service member, they are not trying to let that service member go so easily. That's the reason why there's so many hurdles for people to jump through.
I don't disagree with you, but you're not disproving what I just said.
I'm disproving what you're saying is because it will never happen at our level. Because the military,
I'm not saying that we all know that it's not going to happen at your level. What I'm trying to tell you is that we're the level that it will be made quicker at. That's what I'm trying to do.
It's not about expediting the process. It's about making sure that they don't get in here.
You said that we should not coddle soldiers. Am I correct? You said that we should get the ones. You said that we should get the ones who are not up to par out as quickly as possible. Am I correct? The only way that that's going to happen is just like how you just said yourself. There are so many hurdles to separate a soldier, officer, or enlisted or warrant out of the Army, not only because of the funds that have been placed into this soldier, but also the amount of signatures that need to be gotten for it to happen in the first place. That's all I'm trying to tell you. I don't disagree with your sentiment of what the Army is today. I'm telling you what the process is and the administrative side as an officer of how to get to that outcome that you're looking for as a senior soldier.
Really and truly, there's two ways to get this done. There's either to get them out of here the easy way, or to shape and mold the soldiers the way we used to back in the day, when they know that there was no alternative to get the soldier out of the Army. You gotta fulfill your obligation of your contract. That's how it used to be.
But see, this is what Charles was asking. What is the difference between and pros and cons of today's Army and yesterday's Army? The Army was, and you should know, at the District of California, where all legislation is done, which is why I don't understand why you're arguing against me on this one. I'm not disagreeing with anything that you're saying. I'm just telling you that it sounds good, it briefs well, but there has to be a process that has to be done for the things that you want to be accomplished within the Army. The Army is a corporation just like anything else. That's all I'm saying to you. There's no disagreement between your sentiment and my sentiment with soldiers in today's Army. I'm telling you what it is when it comes to how it's going to be accomplished to be kicked out.
So here's the deal. I don't want soldiers kicked out. I just want soldiers to know that you can't just get kicked out. It's not that easy of a process.
But you yourself just said that I do everything on my end to make it quick. I do it differently than everybody else in the Army does. Did you not?
Because I adhere to the system that I am working within.
But if you've gotten so good, but this is what I'm saying. If you've gotten so good at getting soldiers kicked out the Army, how do you still hold the same sentiment that you don't want to kick soldiers out the Army? Why would you get so good at something that you don't want to do?
Because I've seen soldiers that should not have been kicked out of the Army. Like, I legitimately had a soldier, and I asked him, right, because he did LSD, and LSD is something that you cannot even track, right? But he admitted to doing it, and he was a good soldier. He was a good service member. I actually was getting ready to present him in the board, right? And he was like, Sergeant, to be honest with you, the unit beat me down before you got here. White guy, the same guy that cried on my shoulders, right? And I said, hey, look, man, go through with the process. If they deem you promotable, we'll go from there. He went to the board. He succeeded, but they still kicked him out. And that was why he cried on my shoulders, right? Because he did everything that he's supposed to do, but they decided they wanted to kick him out, right?
But this is what you said at the beginning, though. I would kick that soldier out as well, regardless of if he was
no. There is no. I would kick that soldier out regardless if he is good or not. No,
I'm going off of the information. No.
That's not the information I gave you. You're not going to twist my words.
You're getting personal.
Shitbag soldiers will get kicked out.
Okay.
Period.
Yeah, right. That's what you want. That's what I want. Got it. So I'm telling you that you just went on record saying that you want to go back to the pros of what you feel was the old Army. That we need to instill in the new Army today what the old Army was doing whenever it came to making sure that these soldiers understand what they've signed up for and make sure that they are completing their contract and doing their job. Some of your words, I'm not going to say them verbatim, but
that's good. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good, right? But I'm saying if a soldier is coming to you and they know there are a couple of things that soldiers know not to do. Can we agree on that? To not get kicked out. If a soldier comes to me and tells me, I don't care if he's a good soldier or a bad soldier. If a soldier comes to me and it has anything to do with drugs, whether it's weed, LSD, cocaine, Percocets, any type of drug that is not on that list whenever you're getting your urine, your urine analysis, then there's no wiggle room for that. I'm not feeling sorry for a soldier that does something like that, because that's his decision. He's a grown man or a grown woman within the military, and they've decided, and just like you just said yourself, you need to inform them as their NCO before they come to my level, and I have to initiate these things at an administrative level to get the signatures that need to be done for this process to go through, that they cannot do these type of things. And if they go upon their own volition to do it themselves, that's not on you as an NCO. That's not on me as an officer. That is on them as a grown adult and their decisions that they made that are incorrect whenever it comes to what we view ourselves as a United States Army soldier. That's end of discussion.
Is it though? Is it the end of discussion?
Yes, it is in the discussion, because then
is it the end of discussion because those situations happened a year before I even got to the organization, and when I get to the organization, he put the spotlight on himself, and then he showed that he was better than all the service members that were underneath me. He took initiative. He said,
this is what I didn't want to.
This is a leader. This is a leader that I never had before. This is a leader that said, this is a leader that made me motivated to perform above expectations, above the duty that was already asked of me beforehand. You got to understand, I'm black. I come into a section where I am the only black squad leader.
Okay.
Of course they're going to dump all the bullshit on me. Of course they're going to dump all the trash on me. And what do? I shape and refine individuals that they thought were trash. And then when they get with a brother, they're like, you know what? He believes in me.
Yep.
The people that look like me don't even believe in me. So I'm going to do what's right.
So I don't agree. I don't disagree with what you just said, right? But this is what I want to get to the crux of, which is what I think Charles is trying to get to here as well, right?
Yeah, please.
This is for entertainment, correct? But it's also I didn't want to get too much into the anecdotal stories, right? I understand that that's where you're drawing.
Get into the story. Into the story that's at hand right now.
But see, this is what I'm saying. I can't go into anecdotes because the Army is not an anecdotal. Just like you said, you want it to go. Not you want it, but you would prefer But you would prefer that it goes to. You think the old Army, the pros of it is that soldiers. And I'm just going off of what you said, brother.
Let me ask you a question though. Let me ask you a question before you go.
Go ahead.
If you have a tab, do you have a little more leverage than you don't?
I think confirmation bias comes into play depending on your branch. Yeah, sure.
There we go. So long story short, you say yes.
Do I think that if a Ranger was caught doing LSD or a Special Forces member was caught doing LSD, do I think if a infantryman
or with somebody with a sapper tab, right? We ain't gonna go tab short tab. We're gonna go with sapper too, right?
Yes. Yeah,
and first and foremost, they fucked the whole process up because I told him, hey, do you want to stay in the Army or not? Because they fucked the whole process up because he did not get caught. He volunteered himself and said, hey, this is what I did, right? So what they supposed to do is put him in ASAP. They did not do that. I caught that because I am a leader that cares about his soldiers first. They did not put him in ASAP and allowed him to make a mistake. I said, hey, do you want to stay in the Army? Because if you want to stay in the Army, I can square this away for you. He said, Sergeant, to tell you the honest truth, they beat me up so bad, I just want to get out.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, too, though, that's where I think that your leadership is lacking in that area. Oh, wow. I would never, and this isn't a hit on you. This is what I would say to myself because I caught myself doing that when I was a butter bar and I was telling soldiers, when I got pinned with soldier issues before I had came to the unit that I had to deal with whenever it came to chapters and separations. I had 2 separations as soon as I arrived at the unit because of previous gunshots that had happened at a party prior to me showing up. So it's not, that's why I didn't want to get too much into the anecdote thing, because everyone can tell a story about where they feel somebody was not treated properly. But if we're just going to take it down to the minute details, then we're not going to get anywhere. We're not going to get to the crux of the conversation.
No. We're going to get to the crux of it.
No, the crux of the conversation, because
it's all about who cares about soldiers and who don't.
It's not about who cares about soldiers and who doesn't. It's about what does the Army, what you just said at the beginning of the conversation when Charles asked, is what does the Army expect of you as a United States Army soldier? Am I correct? What does the Army expect of you to do your job, to be able to move, shoot, and communicate at the minimum, to not do drugs, to not commit crime?
Hold on, all that extra shit is wrong because he did it better than the worst of them. I'm not saying that the best of them.
He could be as good as he wants to be whenever it comes to everything else that it takes to be an infantry soldier. But he was also at fault in himself by doing drugs, and not only that, bringing it up, as you said.
You don't even ask why he went into this shit. Like I said, I came into
but
this
see,
shit.
that's what I said at the beginning, though, is that I think that soldiers is more individualism, and it's more so. No. Listen to what I'm saying. I'll let you go. I think that it's more so the Army is now focusing more on the individual soldier and what they are going through within their own personal lives.
Well, you can say that. You can say that as and I ain't going to say the POG word, but you can say that as a person in the soft service members. But it's like this right here. As a line soldier, we are intimate with our soldiers, and it don't fucking work like that. It don't work like that.
But don't you? Do you want to ask? But do you want to ask me who I've worked for, though?
No.
Do you know that most general officers are combat arms officers?
Here we go. Yeah,
but
that don't have anything to do with the service members below a freaking general officer. Are you serious right now?
I'm not saying. I tried bringing up the lieutenants that I'm best friends with that are combat arms.
That means nothing to me.
They're in charge.
Tell me about a staff sergeant. Tell me about a sergeant first class.
I can tell you about those.
Tell me about a squad leader.
Why are you getting upset, man? I'm just.
I'm telling you. Tell me about somebody that actually did a team X eval. Tell me about somebody that did a team X eval. Tell me about somebody that did buddy team movement. Tell me about MIT.
Take it out, and tomorrow I'll wake up.
You want me to answer now, or?
Go ahead and answer.
Yeah, so I tried saying that at the beginning of our conversation. You told me that the validity of my conversation didn't matter. When I tried to tell you that I have friends that are in charge of soldiers like yourself, that I have friends that are platoon sergeants, that are squad leaders, that are within infantry and mainly armor units, unless you don't think armor is the same as infantry as well.
No, it's death before dismount, but go ahead.
Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. Like they go through the same things. Now, is it at the same degree for op tempo when it comes to how long you all are in the field as compared to other units? Of course, there's no disputing that. There's different branches in the Army because people choose to go into those specific branches. I'm not going to anybody that decides to choose what their choice is for the branch that they choose, their MOS. I'm trying to tell you, I tried to come at you with that at the beginning, and you told me that the validity of my statements did not matter. And now you are wanting me to explain to you exactly, oh, you haven't spoken to a staff sergeant that's an infantryman. You haven't spoken to a sergeant first class that's an infantryman. You haven't spoken to a specialist or PFC or PV2 or a cousin that's an infantryman or armor guy. But this is what I'm saying. Like, you, if I tell you about what they go through, are you going to agree with what I say then?
I don't know. Maybe let me have it.
So this is what I'm saying. It's the same thing. Why did he get himself into that situation in the first place? You didn't even ask about that? I tried talking about that at the beginning about what the new Army is doing.
Yes, I did, and I told you that.
What is the Army doing currently?
He didn't have me there.
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna say because I'm not gonna be on it all day. What is your solution? What do you think is your solution? What is your solution, mental agility, to fix these problems that you see? What are the problems? Give me 3 problems that you see at your level, and what do you think are the solutions to each of those problems?
All right. The
Go ahead.
first one, I'm just gonna phonetically spit it out. We need to remove the tango golf agenda. First and foremost, on the back end, the military is doing that. You know, they're analyzing people's backgrounds from childhood, and if you have any type of ADHD, ADD, you can't serve, and you have to stop allowing the NCOs to do their job.
You said
That's
stop
it.
allowing them or allow them?
You have to allow them to do their job. Thank you, Charles.
I'm just going to say this because there's points that I agree with you both, and this is the reason why there's different levels. Like, this is the reason why I don't believe in relationships being compromising. I believe in cooperation. And a chick tried to say, what if you wanted to go out with your friends, but you had to go to a work dinner with your significant other? I said, it's a cooperation because I'm pretty sure if it was a work dinner, you would have told me before time, not at the last minute. Because if you tell me something at the last minute and I have something planned, then I'm going to tell you no, because it's going to teach you to value my time and tell me accordingly. So when I look at it, I've always said this about the military. This shows you the difference and the dichotomy between family structure and military service. Everybody get what I'm saying? And when you have an agenda, not even just a transgender agenda, it's this single family raised agenda. Because I'm going to tell you, as a wrestling coach, as a firearms instructor, as a trainer of young men, one of the biggest hurdles, if not the biggest hurdle, is establishing. And I know we got 1720 watching. Please like, share, subscribe, donate to the channel, share it to your friends, because this is one of the few times in Black Manosphere history you're going to get an officer and an NCO who are still in the military. So, I don't know anybody else in the Black Manosphere who can accomplish this, with the exception of obviously BGS, because that's where we originated from. But that's neither here nor there. But the point is where you have a lot of this family structure. And I think in the next few years, because I'm pretty sure you guys are going to be in the military for at least another 10, 15, correct?
No.
Yeah, he's with 17 years. I'll be on.
Yeah.
I mean, at least 5.
No.
We'll go to 5.
I got about a year and 6 months. I got skill bridge. I'm in college. You know what I'm saying? I'm working on. I'm about to close in on my in my bachelor's in February, March time frame, and I'm gonna work towards my master's. You know what I'm saying? In social work.
So at least you're gonna get at least a good year. But definitely for the captain, he's gonna be in for the long haul. And what happens is that this is what I think the military ought to do. They ought to have a leadership and mentor program for people who are veterans, either who've been out or get out, to mentor these next group of kids to be the people who protect this country. Because the recruitment pool is getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and you can see it as well in the military, in the police department. Like, you cannot run a city without the military. You can't run a state or a city without the police department, and you damn sure can't run a country without a good military. And a lot of what the military offers is because you have an effemination. People are scared. People are unbeknownst to what's going on. They hear these horror stories, and come to find out, they hear the horror stories of people who've never even been in. Well, they're going to yell at you. Well, guess what? I've seen people get yelled at, from their supervisor in Walmart more than the military. There's always going to be ebb and flow. And I think that the one thing that you both can agree on when you're dealing with newer soldiers and new recruits, you have a disconnect of authority. There's an issue with having authority. You get what I'm saying?
So
Well,
speaking of
I have
authority,
to say,
can you hear me, Charles?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So speaking of authority, since you're an authority man, I just want to make sure I was safe to get in now. Am I good?
We'll get PK. Then I think Mental wanted to say something after
yeah,
that. PK.
you good. Go ahead, PK.
All right, I appreciate it. I'm sorry for interrupting the conversation about all this. It was just to kind of clear the air a little bit, because I think that V4V has some issues. I think that they were mostly in between you guys, in particular V4V and mental agility. And so I didn't know if he had an issue with some of the statements I had made previously on BGS's panel or not. So I was just like, okay, well, I'll come clear him up since he was headed over here anyway, or if anybody else had some type of misunderstanding about our disagreement, I'd clear that shit up too. I was, at work here or whatever, get it out of the way.
Yeah.
So the thing is,
okay.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, just like I'm talking to mental agility right now, it's not so much a disagreement, because I'm not really on here to disagree with a whole bunch of people. I'm mostly here to just figure out what is the root cause of whatever issue that we're talking about, and if I feel as though what your perspective is on the situation is not warranted, or it's not adding to a solution to whatever we're speaking about, that's the only, I guess you could say, disagreement that I would have with you. I don't think that what you were saying on there, I think you were talking about why marriage and what marriage and sex, the dichotomy between those were, and you felt differently about that than what BGS was saying, if I'm right.
You're a little bit off, but I think that may have been mostly what mental agility was alluding to, but it wasn't my primary divergence. The thing that me and him mostly diverge on is the conceptualization around what it is to be married. I mean, we do agree insofar as there are points in which where we coalesce and we agree, and there are points in which where we disagree. And it's mostly minutia for the most part. However, when it comes to the broader discussion, though, I think when we get to the core of the issue of our disagreement, sometimes I don't know if he's aware of it or people are even aware of it, but they actually lean on essentially feminist propagandist teachings that are underpinning some of the ways in which we analyze society and nature. So when you start to talk about things like anthropology, it's kind of thrown into there too. So you have to be very, very careful and have a discerning eye about what it is that you're trying to figure out. And so when it comes to things like marriage and family, is that a nature thing or a nurture thing? And some people like to lean on the idea that it's a nurture thing. Well, you're making a feminist argument when you say that, and people don't realize that. And so I was trying to point that out.
Let me get in here. What are you talking about as far as feminist anthropology teacher? Because I lean far away from feminism. So like I'm trying to understand, because what I said in the whole argument is that
I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying in the general, I'm making a generality here, and it's something that me and BGS were disagreeing about. The nature of marriage, essentially, and where it stems from, whether or not it's a concept that exists in a natural environment, or if it only exists in the confines of a socialized structure, aka nurture.
And I understand that, because I don't give a damn about how we got socialized to get to this point. What I care about is that we are here, and men are socialized to get married, to get sex, right? And we're talking about the bottom tier men for the most part, because everybody in this chat understands the Plato principle, right? 20% of the men are going to get 80% of the sex if they want it, So with that being said, men got to get in where they fit in. And that's why I was talking about with these service members. A lot of the service members that I came in contact with, they marry these chicks because they want that guaranteed poom poom.
Let me say it this way. Hold on. If that was true, then why do you have a lot of niggas who ain't got shit to show for it with like a whole rack of kids? We gotta.
Are you talking about Pookie or are you talking about service members?
Well, Pookie, there's a lot of service members who are former Pookies.
Well, I can tell you what, you and what his name, D4L? I can't remember. Joker. I'm gonna just call him Joker. Y'all might know about that because that's soft skill MOS stuff where all the black people
You gotta think about it. You gotta think about this, right? I'm the guy they sent in to wrestle the so-called hard chargers. So
I get what you're saying.
No. Wait a minute.
I got three brothers.
Wait a minute.
I got three brothers that have three kids by three baby mamas, and one of them is going through OCS.
You cannot talk over the host. Okay? We're gonna be respectful. One.
Got it.
I've actually rescued the Marine infantry in Fallujah when they were fighting. I was part of the QRF to come get them several times, several missions. I had over 354 missions in the first 6 months. I am as hard charging as you can get. Okay? Let's just
understand.
Wait a minute. Let's be respectful. I respect your service.
I understand that 88 make life.
I respect your service. Please respect mine. So here's the point about it. I don't care if you take them out of infantry or you take them out of quartermaster or you take them out of artillery or medical corps. Hell, it's even worse in the medical corps because when they go to Fort Sam, they're outnumbered 8-1. So guess what? Choosy lover. The issues is if I take a simp in the military, he's going to be from them into the military. 9 times out of 10, he's going to be a simp while he's in and a simp after until something shakes up the core. And see, what happens is, whether officer or enlisted, you got to understand, a lot of the socialization of women in today's, social dating marketplace is pretty much the same, but at different levels. You're gonna look at people like, let's say, the lead attorney who was married for 10 years. And he says, you know what? You got to look at that as a win. You got to look at that as a win. If you're dating somebody who's a lower brow type of woman, she's not going to look at it as a business deal. She's going to look at gimme. Because her mode is what? Survival. So she's going to look for a Pookie or a lowbrow guy or a guy, even in the military, with a lowbrow mentality, because she knows there's benefits.
So I just
hold on. Let me get I cannot agree with that because it's all about how she was raised, right? If she was raised in a top tier family, she is going to elevate herself above Pookie, right? So,
wait a minute. How many chicks come out the hood with doctorates and master's degrees, go right back into the hood? It doesn't really, it's not just how she's raised, it's how she's imprinted.
We ain't talking about PG County.
We're talking about PG County. We're talking about Baltimore City and County. We're talking about these places. We're talking because guess what? There's only 42 miles from DC to Baltimore. So I'm in the cusp of all of it, baby. Guess what? You know what the difference in mentality? You take that chick with a PhD and you take that chick who work at Family Dollar and you play the right song and they dancing in the same club. Can you tell the difference?
No, you can't tell the difference. You know what I'm saying? I had one in Joppa Town that I had to let go. What you know about that?
Oh, I know about it. Shit, I'm Baltimore folk right now. I bleed purple. So shit.
So, Charles, if I could answer PK real quick, and then I'll go back.
And there's a question LAPD SWAT has. I'm gonna let you answer. Then I want to get the captain and the staff sergeant to answer. Go ahead. After your question.
Yeah. So for PK, I think that it's like I said, it's just difference of perspective. I don't want BJS isn't here, so I can't speak for him. But since you're here and you've given your opinion on, you don't think that it's nurture, you think that it's nature whenever it comes to the marriage dynamic, that men and women, and since time immemorial, based on your anthropology study, are made to pair up, then I mean, I can't really refute that because I don't have the knowledge on anthropology. All I can say is like how some people on the panel or panels previously, they just go off of their, what they see in their own personal lives and through their own experience. So in my own personal life and my own experience, I do see a majority of people who are in the mindset of wanting to get married that normally is based on, like I keep reiterating, on socioeconomic class. And if it's at the lower tiers, which is where a majority of our general population is at, sometimes I mostly see it through whether or not you ended up having a baby with this person, or I think I would lean more to where it is whenever it comes to socialization and the nurture. I don't think I would, and I would also have the piece of nature. I think it's all of them bundled up in one. I don't think that there's a wrong answer for either side. Maybe if you lean onto one side more than the other and try and say that side has no validity at all, maybe I'd have a disagreement. If you don't think nurture or socialization has any play in it at all, then maybe we'd have a disagreement. But because I think all three of those things come into play, I don't think that I have a disagreement with you.
Okay, that's what I was really trying to get at initially with the conversation. I was trying to explain to him is that it's not really an either or. If you want to argue that one came before the other, then obviously it would be the nature aspect of it, because humanity, wouldn't have existed for as long as they have if people hadn't essentially gotten together and stayed together. Because let's be quite honest here, babies don't fucking, babies don't really add much to a group or really two humans without parents to be with them and watch them, right? So you kind of got to do that. So give me a sec here.
I feel like you don't understand socialization, right? Because during Jim Crow, when we didn't have a lot of opportunities, we kept families together, right? And then
So I'm not, and mental agility, before you go on, I'm not saying anything about a specific time space. I'm just talking about, he's talking about anthropological. He's talking about like from time immemorial. The only time I'm talking about socialization is because once you get over a group of 150 people, there are social inputs that need to be in place whenever it comes to governing those people. Once you get to over 150 people within your population, whether it's a small civilization or a large civilization, it is irrefutable that there has to be social constructs that are put in place, whether it's with your currency, whether it's with how you deal with people pairing up, whether it's dealing with housing, whether it's dealing with your economic system, all that stuff. I know you're getting tired of it, but like that's just what it is. That's just regular, general, basic information a lot of people don't understand. So,
but you got to understand.
I don't disagree with
you. Got to understand the social contract that was put in place within the 1970s, right?
But that's that's socialization, though. That's what I'm not disagreeing.
I understand socialization, but it's like this right here. Men and women could fight against the socialization. You know what I'm saying? They decided to go with the government, opposed from their men.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you. That's what I'm trying to say.
I understand. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm not trying to say that you disagree with me, but what I'm saying is, if women bonded to their men, we would not be in the situation that we are today.
But you got to remember this: are women socialized to be wives? Because when you're a husband and a wife, your duty is not to that person; it's to the marriage. Are we socialized in the same way?
After 1972, no.
So that's your problem. And I'm pretty sure everybody who's on this panel was born after that time.
Yeah.
So you got to realize, if a guy asks me, Charles, should I get married? The next question, just like I told him, what are you getting married for? What's the purpose? Because you can't just get married off of love. We've only married out of love in the last, what?
Post what mental agility was saying.
200 years?
Yeah.
Like, that's the only time we married, maybe 150, when diamonds start to cost something and be worth a little bit more worldwide and not just a ethnocentristic thing. I mean, for the majority of human society, we married because guess what? When you got outside the clan and the village, where we raised everybody's kid equally, regardless of whose balls and whose cooch that baby came out of, everybody was treated like everybody's child. When you have a larger society, you couldn't do it. You had to form families because you had to be responsible for these kids. So now that you took the responsibility out of the hands of not even the fathers, but definitely the mothers, because guess what? You can be a sorry ass mother, and the government will subsidize you being sorry. They'll give you food stamps, they'll give you housing, they'll give you transportation, hell, they'll even give you education. And what happens is that when we don't look at the factors of socialization, you got to look at what's going on. Because, quite frankly, it's not about if I could get some pussy, because guess what? This is the freest in human history, especially in Americas, that you can get vagina. They're giving it away. You don't even have to marry a chick if she's giving you pussy. It used to be a difference in that.
Yet, there's still a whole lot of most of the men that are still struggling to even get that, even these days.
Right. Because everybody can't just go to the southeast and get some trim.
I'm gonna tell you what happened.
Not only that. I want to speak this real quick. Not only that, I will have to say this. Most of our men, I hate to say this, they don't have a masculine identity about themselves. Also, too, if you was to go back in time and ask a lot of these females that they was obligated back in before the 70s, whatever, the main question: do you sexually desire your husband that you had to marry based on survival? I guarantee most of them would say no, but they had to. It was in smaller areas. We wasn't surrounded with larger options like that, like it is today. The 60s changed that. Feminism changed that for females. It changed the dating market and everything. When females started having more power over their own vaginas, the way it is, more autonomy, birth control, Roe versus Wade. Now it's like, yo, I'm not going to be obligated even by my own father telling me I should marry this dude because he say so. If he's going to disown me, then screw it. I will risk that and go deal with a guy that I actually want to have sex with, even if it's toxic.
Here's the point of it, right? We gotta, one, stop thinking women are not responsible for their actions, and then two, it's a lot of men who can easily get pussy. It's just it's pussy they want. That's another question. Men can easily get sex. I mean, they're giving it away. You just proved my point. They're giving the pussy away.
I agree.
If pussy's on the stock market, that shit is shooting down the Dow Jones.
Yet most men are still struggling.
Most men are not.
Even when it's free the way it is. Like I said,
most men are not aware. Most men are not aware that they can get.
They're not aware. They're not aware of no identity. One day I always say the game is not about the women. It's about you as the man individual. You have to start with you first. I do all types of crazy stuff just to get boom boom.
Here's the point. Here's the point about it. It's not men that are struggling. Here's the truth. It's the fact that men have seen what they historically have been through with their fathers, their grandfathers, their uncles, and other men they respect when it comes to child support and marriage laws. Fuck all that. They could beat their dick or pay a few dollars. Or you got men who said, you know what? That's more of a reason why I don't want to get married. It's not that men can't get it. This is the easiest time men can't get it. You used to get pussy. In order to get it, you had to be married. Now, there's no competition. She's going to give it to you.
Yet, Charles, there's still a large percentage of dudes that still ain't getting none. Busy online all day, even on Twitter, Twitter, online, IG, shaming all these girls that they'll never have a chance with.
Here's the part about reality, right? It's either two things. Either you're gonna see where you stand, Or you're going to be like, look, if it's just about pussy, which it's not, then they wouldn't be mad about prostitution. They're looking for love, not pussy.
Who is they though? Who are you talking about,
Exactly.
Charles? Who is they?
Dudes, all men want punani, just in different ways. That's the whole thing.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I want punani in the form of a marriage commitment, or I just want it casual.
Here's the
Most
point.
every man want to feel sexual desire, but there's only going to be a small percentage of men that's going to reach those levels based upon different factors.
Themselves.
But
Most of them
Charles,
want that
Charles
punani to
this is the
themselves.
question. This is the question that could just be asked to Mel then, and to mental agility if he wants to join in. What is y'all's solution then? Besides stating the facts that we all know about why women are the way they are now, why men are not getting, you all have the gripe that men are not getting what they need, or whatever it is. What is y'all's solution then?
Oh, I got a lot of solutions. I've been to so many debates on panels, and people could have answered me because my experience is different from theirs. I don't have a lot of bitterness towards females like that because, like I said, the game. Hold it. Yeah. Because the game is not about women. I have to take care of myself first. My identity. I'm supposed to have women desire me if I'm not showing any type of masculinity, no type of assertiveness, nothing. I'm not happy about myself. It starts off with you as the man, as the individual. The game is about you. It's not about them. So that's what's going on a lot of dudes out there these days. They make the game about women so much. That's why they fail so much the way they is.
But you know what I find funny is that like the men that if that's your mentality and that's how you feel and how you think truly as your foundation for who you are as a person, well then why do you even talk about it?
Talk about what? The bitterness of female?
Why do you care about what other men are lacking in that you're not, and wanting to explain to them that it's about the game if you don't have an issue with it? And you've already said it one time. You say you go on a lot of debate panels and you try to let people know if it's still not changing, then what's the point of continuing on trying to get the message out?
When they debate about me about certain things, I'm like, yo, of course I'm gonna debate back. Like, yo, my experience is different from yours. Yo, me, trust me, I got multiple reasons to be bitter and angry with the way my past was, but I wasn't. And when I try to teach others the way it is, how I flipped it and change it, can't hold on to that bitterness. I can't constantly keep fighting with a bunch of dudes that's gonna still be in black pill rage and all that mess. That's not me. And stuff. But I should be part of that mess, but that's just not me. And when what happens when you try to teach someone your experience? The same way you just went right now with mental agility, your experience. Y'all go back and forth.
See, that's what I was trying to keep it away from with mental agility. And he didn't do too much of it during our talk. He didn't try to go into the anecdotes until whenever he was talking about that specific soldier, which I understand why he did it. But from what the conversation me and him were having, and the one that Charles is having is about generalities. And that's what a lot of the debate panels that you go on are talking about, generalities. So when you come in and you try to give your personal experience and your personal anecdote, that can only take you so far because only you experience that. So there's a certain point where it's not so much about you are continually arguing with people about what you feel is needed to happen to remedy all these situations that you have an issue with, or you feel men have an issue with. You're not going to get any far with that. You're not going to get very far with talking about what yourself has gone through. You're only going to get so far. You have to broaden that scope out to what.
May I ask a question?
I really don't.
Oh, there's a female up here.
Yeah, go ahead, Mella. I'll respond.
The gentleman that was just speaking, telling you what you should do, I was wondering if he was raised by a single mother.
Uh-oh.
No, my parents have been married for 32 years.
All right. Thank you for answering. Thank you for responding.
Yeah, sure.
And salute, Charles. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm not telling him what to do. It was just more of a question.
You're just saying he should do this.
No, I'm not saying, I'm not saying that he should.
Actually, was for Vivo. No, you kind of tell me what I should do in the form of you asking, but that's sort of another way.
It's a question because you're saying that you had
your question and you had your statement solution.
You're being his instructor.
That's another reason why.
I'm not being his instructor. Low key, what he was saying is okay. Yes.
Ask me
What are
what
you
is the
trying to do to
like what is the
correct the
solution?
situation?
And his response
Who say? Who say?
was adequate enough, and you still couldn't accept it.
No, I
No,
said
it
I
wasn't adequate
analyzed.
enough
I
at
asked
all.
him a question.
Whoa,
He
wait a
No,
responded.
no, 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 no,
He
no, no. Hold it,
responded
hold
with
it,
the
hold it.
point.
Oh, no, 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 no. Because we got a woman on the panel, and she understood what I meant. That's what I'm talking about. She actually
Yo,
proven right
yo,
there.
yo. One at a
So what
time.
is Mela? What is Mela's fault with what I
We
did?
don't speak womanese over here.
One at a
This ain't
time.
no got nothing to do with no woman needs, men
What?
needs,
Hey!
all that. Sorry, Charles.
One at a time. Number one, I'm gonna say something about that, right?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get what the issue.
Men throughout history are going to go to the path of least resistance. Sometimes the path that is the least resistance is going to have a lot of resistance.
Oh, I thought it was going to
But
lead to a woman's vagina.
nope, because guess what? Once again, I'm going to say this. This is the easiest time in the world to get vagina. You don't have to. You don't have to be the biggest, strongest guy. They're giving it to you. Here's the problem. A lot of dudes are confusing. I want to be in love. I want to be in love because guess what? Girls aren't the only motherfuckers who bought the Disney movie complex. Okay, they're like, why doesn't? My mom told me to get these good grades. Why is she dating this guy? Look what she grew up with. If she's imprinted by hood dudes, it's very unlikely she's gonna be with a dude who's, a fucking physicist, okay?
I'm sorry, Charles. I disagree with
There
you
are
on that
two
a little
different.
bit.
No. Can I finish my goddamn?
Wait, I'll wait till you finish. I'll wait till you finish, Charles.
Because number one, even if the chick went to college, what do those chicks tend to do? They go back to the hood for their men. That's what they like. We need to stop talking about what they don't like. There's too many examples of dudes who actually bought into the system even more so than the women.
You're kind of generalizing.
That's why we do.
But that's why I had to disagree with you a little bit,
That's
Charles.
why
Right
we
there,
general.
it has nothing to do with him being from the hood.
It
Has something to how that dude makes her feel. I'm
number
not a hood
one.
dude, and I got females fighting over me sometimes. Going back to want to still smash.
Number one, this is the reason why we generalize. Because in mathematical equations, do we have variables? Yes. But do we have exceptions? Yes. Do we make a rule to the exception? No. When you have a lot of those chicks from the hood, they don't just jump up and just get the fucking most educated dudes on the campus, do they? No. A lot of dudes don't take the time to be like, okay, what type of guys do you like? Who was your last boyfriend? Nope. Because we forget how black men are socialized in this country, right? Garbage men of the dating world. You'll take a chick who's loud, fat, and obnoxious, skinny, bold, and all kinds of shit. Who's nice. You'll take a lot of that shit. But you won't take the time, and this is where a lot of men fuck up. Tell me about your background. How were you raised? Do you have a father in the home? Do you respect your father? How do you view men? What do most dudes do? She got a pussy, I like her. It's not because they can't get it, it's look how they socialize on both ends of the spectrum. Go ahead.
I may say this. The Walt Disney impression that was given, it is all media, right? There's, since we want to generalize, it's media influences, period, across the board. And why I say that is that it promotes impulsivity. So a lot of people, you're right, Officer Charles, a lot of people are not they're not looking at the object of their desire and with a list of pertinent questions. They just know they desire what they're looking at, so they're going to approach them due to impulsivity. That was actually part of how a lot of us were raised. We were raised to be impulsive through media influences, be it Walt Disney, Leave It to Beaver, whatever. The media had a strong impact on believing that there's a such thing as unrealistic love, you know, when in fact there are dimensions of compatibility that need to be explored before you embark upon a relationship. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time due to impulsivity.
Well,
And that's what I'll
I'm
say
glad.
about that.
Then
Well, I'm glad you mentioned. I'm glad you mentioned everything about a woman, but men don't operate on that, right? Men see
Men
what
aren't
they like.
impulsive.
No, men are not impulsive at all. Men are
Oh my
very
God. Okay.
pragmatic. They are very good men, not the men that's raised by single moms and then they inherit the traits that single moms operate off of. But men are very pragmatic. They see what they want, and
Hmm.
then they will try to engage a woman to see if they can get that out of them. A lot of the times, women throw smoke and mirrors up, but men oftentimes
Are we
want.
talking about getting laid, or are we talking about a long-term commitment? Like, because there's a
Most men,
difference.
most men. We ain't talking about the top 20%. Most men want long-term relationships.
Okay. In that aspect, I would
Mhm.
say it is wise to not be impulsive. It's very wise to not be impulsive in the event that's your goal.
But most men are not impulsive because most
I
men don't
beg to
get
differ.
fixed up.
Why else is the
Most
child
men,
support rate? Look, why are these relationships failing if somebody wasn't impulsive?
because the state incentivizes women to divorce men. What are you talking about?
Okay,
Shout out,
so
shout out to
who married them in the first place due
let me
to
Can I
impulsivity?
jump, can
let
I
me
jump
put
in
it to
real
you
quick?
this way.
hold on. Charles, give me a shout out. Go ahead,
Are
Charles.
you serious?
Shout out to hold on, Electric 480 for the $10 super chat. Woo! I'm gonna answer that for a second.
Go ahead. I answer after Charles. Go ahead, Charles.
We are in a state of both sexes being impulsive.
Yes, sir.
Because here's the problem: you have men who have no standard and women who have no shame, and that's a combination of being very impulsive. Just like I had a chick say, number one, uh, well, how do y'all fuck anything? I said, and I told her blatantly, just very blatantly and plainly, if black men had a standard overall, a lot of y'all would never have a chance with those standards or you wouldn't like them. Because yes, in our community, do we promote obesity? Yes, we do. Do we promote thirsty ass niggas? Yes, we do. So when you have that issue of being thirsty and also being impulsive, this is the reason why. Because I'm pretty sure, just like in the military, if they gave you more money not to get married, guess what niggas in the military would do? They would be single for 20 years. If they said we would give you an extra $2,000 per month if you don't get married to keep you focused, and they said we'll give you 150,000, excuse me, $150,000 your 20th year to get married, then guess what the incentivization will be? Guess what you'll see the curve become? Now that you have people who were not built and trained to be husband and wife and to have a certain duty, notice I use the word duty. See, duty is a lot different than what people think. Duty is you getting up at 3 a.m. and you got to go to that PT. You got to go to answer that call. You could be 11 o'clock at night, you chilling in the barracks of the tent, and you hear an explosion a mile down the road, and you got to go help your brother or sister out. That's duty. Regardless if I want to do it, I'm gonna have a duty to this thing. We don't teach that anymore. But go ahead, Mel.
All right. I want to use this couple as an example. Everybody's talking about Kiki Palmer and how now Ed's boyfriend, baby daddy, that lawyer dude and stuff. You know what's going on right now. Most of the energy trying to still go on Kiki and from both sides, men and women. Me, more logical men like myself, will put more energy on him. The reality is him. All this is on him. Why? Because number one, I think some of y'all already said it earlier. Men, we know what type of woman we want to be with. The ideal type of woman. He chose opposite. He was too much amazed by a pretty face and the body and didn't take pride in his seed. So look what happened. He has no masculine influence over her. So look what he did. He's playing about how she dressed, how she act, and go online and blah blah blah. And yet y'all not really course correcting him in a lot for my fellow dudes. If I was sitting right there talking to him, I was like, yo, you gotta look under yourself and technically this is on you because you have no masculine identity. You wasn't taking pride in yourself, in your seed. You got mesmerized by the pretty face, which a lot of dudes do. They see a pretty faced woman, and just what we say, we simping over her and know everything, and then expect her to be Claire Huxtable just because she's with us. You don't have an identity about yourself. That's why people do fail with females the way it is. That's why there's a lot of sexist marriages the way they are and stuff. I know.
Bro,
Some of the women I slept with, I will admit, yeah. They're being
Kiki Palmer does not have a pretty face. Nobody has ever
Dude, man, you just proving my point. You focus on her. Let her do what she wants. Let's focus on him. If you want to build masculine men the way it is, put our energy on him.
Hey, Mel.
No, I get you, but
no, right? See, that's why you fail. Men like you fail the way you do.
Mel.
Right, what?
Hold on. Mel, calm down. Continue your point.
Like I said, man, yo, if you're trying to bring masculine men to bring that identity, men should be focusing on men. Let the woman handle the woman. Since when men shaming women has worked, especially for the past 20, 30 years. It hasn't worked. It never will. She needs that from her fellow females. It starts with us as men. We're giving them power the way we are. We have to take it back away from them. You have to learn to be their kryptonite. Wait, hello? Who's that?
Here's the problem with that.
There's some noise. There's some noise, yeah.
The women know the government. Here's the problem now. Remember what I made a statement earlier. The men have no standards and the women have no shame. They know nothing of shame. You literally will have a chick who's 300-400 pounds with a belly out that looked like she swallowed Moby Dick. She will literally walk through a department store or a mall or a Walmart, belly all out, disgusting looking, with a bonnet, and have no shame about it. They don't have shame anymore. Like Mella, you could probably.
I had noise. Sorry, Charlie. Let me interrupt. That's from me.
You could probably shame somebody's Mella's age a lot more effectively. But Kiki, see, we got to tell the truth. Kiki and that dude were not a real relationship. Because if she was in a real relationship, you would have saw that nigga before she got pregnant. You didn't hear about that nigga till after she had the damn baby. And you know what they were? They were just fuck buddies. They weren't in no real relationship because if she actually respected her dude, she wouldn't have done that silly shit in the first place with Usher.
Don't forget Kiki's face has been scarred up for years. Kiki has never had a pretty face. Never.
Maybe to you, but some dudes do find her attractive. So you got to speak for yourself.
No.
That's the reality truth. Speak for yourself.
I'm saying, have you seen her face without makeup?
Yes. And yet she still has a child. Someone smashed her.
Not just someone, somebody that
was. Matter of fact, a couple of people smashed her because she had dated a couple other people too. Even Steve Harvey tried to give her some game. And she even said herself, I dated all these rich people. I know how they are. I'm not impressed.
You know why? So I dated all these rich people, and all they did was pump and dump me. Pump and dump.
The point is, someone smashed her. They found her attractive enough to smash her.
No.
You're going to have to see her face out makeup in the morning after you smash her.
She found somebody to put his seed in her. He a light skin with curly hair. He gave her a seed that she desired. We don't even know how many misfortunes she had beforehand, but she found somebody that she deemed worthy enough that was lighter than her to give her a seed. She found a sucker.
And whose fault is that? That's his fault.
His. Yeah, that's his fault. But what I'm saying is, listen, they're going to give the coochie up to who they deem is worthy of it. We are in a gynocentric society here, right? We in a gynocentric society because it don't even matter. These women can have 100 kids. It don't matter. The government is going to take care of them. So you can say smash
this
or
is
not.
why I tell dudes, take pride of your seed. Take pride in yourself. Take the power back. I always say females are like Kryptonians. Who's their power source? The yellow power source? Simps. Dudes. We got to act like they kryptonite. We act like they kryptonite. Weaken them. Take their power away. They do all this stuff for our attention. Even from the lowest dynamic. Yes, you see a fat moo cow with a body, someone's going to smash her. She feels a certain way in her pride. You tell her do not to do that, stop giving her attention. Yeah, she probably will lose a couple of pounds or take pride in her
like this. Remember, a lot of these chicks raise them. Here's the part. A lot of chicks raise simps. Okay? So unless we can stop people from reproducing, a lot of them raise their simps. Here's my issue with that. In the black community, we're going to have something called standards again. When we have a standard, look at all the people who object to them. Years ago, you remember years ago, Mel, when I came out with the Great Faulkner Initiative, right? How many people rejected the fact that I said join the military, get some benefits, join the police department?
Exactly. You focus on your men.
But you know, so many niggas was saying you don't need to join the military. Guess what? You have a fucking E6 and an 03 on the panel right now. And the one thing you never heard them complain about was pay and opportunities. But guess what? You got one guy who got a year and a half, years to change, 2 at the most, if that, and another guy who has a career path of being a staff officer. How many black boys would actually take this and say, look, when you're actually held to a standard and looked at it something as valuable, we just talked about yesterday, I was on the platform, so that you know, how did Terrence Crawford's mom look at him? His father, who was a Navy, a sailor, said he's gonna be $1 million baby. His mom said he ain't gonna be shit while he was a baby. How your mother and father views you determines a lot of shit you go through in life. If it was not for his father and a lot of positive males, he would be not shit in the life because his mother deemed him so.
Said key point. His father grabbed him right on time. Then he got influenced by other males. That's what we're trying to do. We have to put more influence on our fellow man. Let the other women take care of the other woman. That's how I feel. Oh, it's going to be 100%? Of course not. Like I said, I'm not trying to rebuild a whole large community. I'd rather build from a small one and start from there. Like-minded people. I know it's not going to be small, large percentage. I start with the small few. Everybody's not going to make it. But one thing I'm going to teach men, like, you know what? When you focus on yourself and focus on the people that gravitating towards you, that little world seems more bigger than what it is. You won't worry about the rest of the people. You're like, fuck the rest. I don't care. I don't care about all these women. I focus on the women that's gravitating towards me. That's it.
You're not going to get it done here. It's grassroots, man. You got to do it in the area that you live in, man. To be honest, because I salute you and I understand what you're saying, man. Because like a lot of the men need this, but at the end of the day, this right here, what you saying right now is so powerful that you got to do it within the vicinity that you live in, man. They're not going to see this.
It ain't just about the vicinity you live in. This is what the whole point on YouTube also too, and this is how you take the information. I learned my game from Alan Roger Curry from YouTube.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace to my brother, my hero. and change myself. Learn from a YouTube. I haven't met him face to face. I talked to him a couple of times also too, outside of YouTube also too, online. Wish I met the man too. But unfortunately, it's how you take the information. Just like YouTube, like they always say, YouTube University. There's a lot of stuff I take from YouTube. Yes, there's a large percentage of scammers and everything. That's why you got to do your due diligence. There's a lot of stuff and skills I learned from YouTube, even online.
But you know
I
what
take. Hold on,
Alan Roger.
let me finish.
Hold on, you know
But
what Alan Roger
I also
Curry quote,
take
right?
it. I also
Alan
take
Roger
it.
Curry
Hold it. I'm
quote
about to land the plane. Hold it, brother. I'm about to land the plane. But also take the information and apply it to see if what they saying is factual, and see how it affects my life. That's where it all matters. Am I right?
Alan Roger Curry did not teach building, man. Alan Roger
Yes, he
Curry
did.
teach.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Alan Roger.
Yes, he did.
So
Yes, he did. Now it's up to you how you want to apply the advice.
Wait.
Or not.
Was
He's
Mo
not a
one?
miracle worker. He admitted himself. He's not a miracle worker. But it's like I always said, how you take the advice on you, where you find it, how you apply it. If you want to learn more from it, you're going to do deeper research on it. If you're going to just give up or just say, you know what, that his advice might not work for me. Let me find someone else.
Was Mo one about building?
And whining and crying and everything? No, I don't rock with you like that. You just sitting about whining and crying and blah, blah, blah and everything.
Was Mo one about building?
Like
was Mo one about building?
Yep.
Okay.
Can I jump in?
I got his book also.
I ain't gonna argue.
Can I jump in, Charles?
Go right ahead.
Yeah, so you know what? It was a good talk, mental agility. I appreciate you bringing me up, Charles. I do, with one of the comments that were in the comment section, I just got two things I wanted to say. I've been quiet for a minute. About the relationship between officers and enlisted. I do hope that they continue to become stronger bonds. I do agree with a lot of the sentiments that mental agility has. I don't agree with some of the anecdotes just because I'm not him. So I don't know what he goes through and he doesn't know what I go through. But I agree with most of what you said, mental agility, whenever it comes to soldiers in general, as a general whole, and how the Army is today. So I'll give you that. I do appreciate the conversation. Number two is, I think that, and this is the last thing I'll say, I think that a lot of it really, like I had said to BGS right before I got off his panel about an hour and a half ago, I think it's really telling how, I feel as though Mel is coming on here and he's talking about how he doesn't, whatever his gripes are with the space and with men who are coming to the space who are maybe not taking on the knowledge that he thinks that they should be taking on. And they're not taking accountability for themselves whenever it comes to their actions. If that's the solution, then I would say, just like how you learned and you were able to get information from other spaces and other parts of YouTube, then you should create your own YouTube channel as well and teach your message and preach your message out there so that others can hear it and you can reach as many people as possible. And then I just don't think that, I think it's turning into, I don't like how this space just turns into a lot of people seemingly complaining about what they feel as though other people aren't doing. If we're really truly a solution-based section as the Black Manosphere, I think it needs to be, like I said, going into 3.0, it needs to be more focused on, like I said, the youth. I don't think that it's very conducive for a whole bunch of not older, because I'm older too, but 30-plus-year-old men coming on here, voicing their gripes about what they feel has gone on in their lives and what they see personally, and trying to project that onto what is coming up in the next generation, because that's not going to help anyone.
Okay, let me ask you something, brother.
And I let you talk. I let you guys.
Let me ask you something, brother.
I let you all talk for a very long time. I didn't speak.
Hold on.
Yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back.
Hold on for 1 second.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Noble, for the Cash App support, and continue, V.
Yeah, I don't think that it's very conducive to be solution based for people to come on, and especially if it's something that they don't deal with personally, and it's not something that they see on a daily basis within their own lives, especially since they seem to have such an individualistic mindset about, hey, like, this is what I learned, you can learn this too. When you realize that a lot of people aren't going to learn this type of stuff, when Mel is saying, like, hey, this is what I think a lot of people are impulsive, or mental agility says, no, I don't think that that's right. And then Mel comes in and says, no, this is what I think is right. Well, what is going to be the point where everybody comes together and they can at least agree on one thing? You know what I'm saying? I think that that's what needs to be taken away from the space. It's not so much, this is what I think, and this is the reality, and this is how everybody else should think. It should really just be, okay, if you don't agree with me, then where is the common ground that we can find? Because a solution isn't going to be found with everybody having their own opinions. You know what I'm saying? I think that it's just, we need to find an opinion that we can get behind and strongly support, and then go from there. Not all of us, like you, even in here, like we're not a solution based, we're a think tank. Even though it's a think tank, there has to be a next step to the think tank. Think tanks in the real world, whether it's in business, which is where it's normally portrayed in, it's normally so that a solution can be found, a product can be made. What is going to be the next step going forward to action these type of things? And that's the
All
last.
right, let me ask you something. Let me ask you something.
Hold on now.
Go ahead.
Just thank you again, Mental Agility, for the $5 holla. And I do agree that we're a think tank. Sometimes we don't have to agree, because here's my thing. I gotta listen to the majority of my audience, and the majority of my audience do agree. Hell, I have good, successful women. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I do know there's a certain culture with our women, just like there's a certain culture with our men. Does that mean that everybody, just like I have two of my Padawans here, they love video games, they love slang, but they went BlurCon, they were home. What's up, Art New Style? Woo! And here's the fact of the matter. A lot of people don't understand this in the military. Maybe it's the old soldier in me. The officer and the enlisted are symbiotic relationships.
Facts.
If I'm wrong. You don't get the respect of those troops without that NCO. And that good officer will move heaven and earth for his troops.
Yep.
And when you have that, you have some of the best ran units. If you look at special operations, the person who runs the mission is not always the highest ranking, correct?
Yep.
Because even at QRS, I'm not saying that I wore the beret, never will claim that. Have I worked with some? Yes. We had to, guess what? You're put in the driver's seat. You're leading the mission. What should we do? Just like when I was at BlurCon and we had to do security for 10,000 people and celebrity security. At 10 o'clock, them young men, I said, y'all pick how it goes. You have that big ass party, you have whatever event, and they handled it with flying colors. So when you, God damn, I wish, hey, shut up. Yeah, the Padawan got a damn puppy. I'm a cat man. Cats are cool. They laid back. Rub me. You had a hard day. Rub me. Yeah. All right, that's enough. Let's go lay down and watch TV. But the point that I'm saying is that there is no one better than the other. Why? Some of your best officers were enlisted, you know, because they know both sides of the coin. Even though everybody has to gang up on the ultimate evil, which are warrant officers. I'm joking, warrant officers. We love you. A lot of shit couldn't be ran without you motherfuckers. But the point is that it's symbiotic. It's like when I'm running shit with my security firm, at some point I have to listen to the lowest totem pole of guys to see how could we run this better. And without that NCO to be who's going to be typically with the younger group of soldiers, understanding what's going on versus the officer who tends to be with an older crowd, especially when you make 03. You're going to be underneath that fucking battalion, that battalion commander, that battalion command sergeant Major Vance. And you're going to be like, yo, a lot of officers confide in their NCOs, and a lot of NCOs confide in their officers. Because when you get to that, trust me, let's say if mental agility, if he chooses to make, E7, he's gonna be right next to that goddamn lieutenant. Like, look, sir, this how you do it. All you gotta do is sign the papers. We got you. So we gotta always know how to support each other, from the young men to the middle-aged men like myself, and the older guys like a BGS of my father's generation. And that's the best you got. And if Art New Style want to come up, brother, much appreciated. I hope you do come up. But go ahead, Mel. Sorry, I cut you off.
Well, let me make this real quick. All right, here's the problem right now. I'm sorry, A4. I don't know what your name. 4484 or VV48. I'm sorry. What's your name again? The Joker dude.
You can
Oh
just
yeah.
go V. It's just V.
All right, V. Yeah. You familiar with Star Wars? I know everybody is, but you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Remember the Empire Strike Back?
Yeah.
One of the most powerful scenes is when Yoda was trying to teach Luke how to lift that Star Destroyer, spaceship, Starfire. But that was cool. Yeah, Starfire. His ship out that swamp with the Force. Luke is looking at him because of his size. It's impossible. When he tried to do it, it's impossible.
Yeah.
Yoda lift that spaceship up out that no problem, like it was nothing. Luke looked at him, was like, I can't believe it. This is why you fail. This is the problem. Too many dudes want to stay stuck in a shades of gray mindset, a negative mindset, instead of doing the impossible and stuff. Sometimes you're gonna have to do the impossible. Take a chance, take a risk. You guys a lot of dudes so much in the space about what they want from a woman, yet most of them is not being straight direct from a woman. I give information and I even give sources where I learn from, where it's legit, where I learn from. It's up to the men to take the steps and go from there and also apply it. Like I said, we give a lot of information, but information could be wasted because most dudes not going to apply it. I rebuttal against some dudes like I do on panels because some of the stuff they talk about, what they went through with women, I've been through it. I found a different way. I found a different solution. I give information and answers. And it's up to them to apply it. If they want to learn, I'll teach them. They have to unlearn what they learned in their past. I know some is hard, but you want things in life, you got to put in some hard work. It's like that in the army, right? You got to teach these soldiers that's coming in to unlearn what they learned to make better, stronger men. Still like that, and same thing in this space, always. They're all different. I would say splinter cell groups that go extreme with that stuff. I don't rock with, but there's still also information stuff. Like I said, stuff that if you see dudes about to commit suicide and everything, yeah, there's panels like Charles and Snowman that will talk them out of it because they've been through what some of these dudes been through when they have that mindset. We need those channels and stuff. Share information and give them the right way. Even certain situations when it comes to child support, I've heard some men that been through it and still find success. Most of those men is not going to at least contact that man that been through what they've been through. Okay, how can I deal with certain situations with my baby mama on everything? They give you the steps when you want to take it further. It's up to you as an individual how you're going to take those information and how well you want it. How badly do you want it? Because a lot of us want to use data, statistics, and facts and focus on the large percent. I focus on the small percent. I want to be part of that small percent that's successful and succeeding. How do I become part of the small percent? That's my focus.
Please let me speak to the real life, man. Let me speak to the real life because I'm an advocate for paternity tests. Why? Because I am a victim of paternity fraud. You know what I'm saying? I've been paying child support for a child that is not mine for the last 7 years. And they're like, why you don't go to court? Why you don't try to battle that? You know why? Because when I was in Iraq fighting for my country, I came home on R&R leave days before my ex-wife was having sex with another man. Mm-hmm. He got to the sea before I did, right? But because that was my wife, and because I thought my ex-wife was doing the right thing, I put my name on the birth certificate. You know what I'm saying? Mm. And I say this to say that, man, my brother here, he was speaking facts. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's all about protecting yourself. But how do you protect yourself when you're already married, you're in holy matrimony, you think this woman is the woman for you, you think she's doing the right thing that she's supposed to do, but she ain't. You're fucked. So at the end of the day, at all costs, as a brother, he got to protect himself over here in the West. He got to.
But
I mean,
what I will say for you, brother, you're never fucked. I know you may be down for a second, but
No,
you're
I'm
never
fucked,
fucked.
bro. I got 3 years left on that child support. And then once it's over with, it's over with. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get my
About to turn
100%
20, about to turn 21.
I'm gonna get my no. I'm gonna get my 100% VA disability, and after I get my 100% VA disability, I won't pay child support anymore. So I'm cooking.
Yeah,
But
so
because of the laws that are in place, I'm fucked because I married a woman. I signed my name on the birth certificate for a woman I was married to. The state of Georgia is like, somebody got to take care of this kid. Good luck. Because they don't give a fuck about me, man. At the end of the day, they don't give a fuck about me. They care about who gonna pay for this kid, so we can get a pinch of that.
I've seen some videos of, I think the kid can actually get you up with child support. And I've seen a video of that. I'll look for it. If you put your email in the chat, that's just information I'm giving you, and you get to take it from there if you want to go deeper onto it. I don't know the relation you have with this child. If you still feel close with this child that is
Oh,
still like yours.
his dad is in his life now, bro. His dad is
Oh,
in his life.
okay. So yeah, but they don't think you're the only one that went through this mess. There's plenty of dudes that's been through the same situation that you've been through right now. Maybe a little different twist, but it's still situation. But but it's still the same way. And some of them have seen the light when it's too impossible. You got to link up with those brothers over there too, and then they'll guide you the way how to handle it. Cause
Yeah,
that's what this space is supposed to be. It's like a brotherhood. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You see how you talking about your problems and everything.
yeah.
What we best do is give you solutions, and then it's up to you to take it and want to take it further.
Here's my
That's
thing,
how
though.
we
Here's
do.
here's my thing. My thing is this right here. So you're gonna get a lawyer. Retainer right now is every bit of $5,000. That's just the retainer, right? You kick the retainer, you take it to court, then what? Because I'm already 5,000 in the hole. I'm giving her $355 a month, right? Will that add up after my court fees? Because that's just a retainer. 5,000. That's just a retainer. 5,000. You talking about 355 a month for a year? That's not even $3,000. I mean, that's a little over $3,000. That's 2 years, right? He is 15 right now. So I $5,000 court fees, and then what if it's not an open and shut case? That's more money, man. So the system got you fucked. It's like, are you gonna take this? Are you gonna take this? Are you gonna take getting rotted off the range easy, or are you gonna take it soft?
I think our new style just had a. I don't know if it's an actual solution, but you probably could take that and do research on that. You put it back up on the screenshot. You could probably sue her in another country for paternity fraud. If this is true, then like I said, see information that he's giving.
Sewer in another county.
Yeah, like I said, if you
That'd
just give
be
information, and if you want to do deeper research and check over it and
Because
everything,
this is
look more further. There's another game I could give you right now. If is the child support affecting your credit report?
no. Oh no. My shit good. My shit
Cause
good.
cause you can
I'm gonna
actually
tell
get
you.
that off your credit report.
I'm
And
gonna tell you
No,
what.
because
consumer
because
law.
I'm,
So
because I'm not in arrears.
yeah, even if you was, you can still get that off your credit report because you still got control what you want on your credit report or not. That's game right there. This game, when you study consumer law and everything. I'm doing more
I'm gonna
research on
tell
that
you.
also
I'm gonna
too.
tell you one thing
Yeah, go
about
ahead,
it.
Charles.
Check with the laws, deep into the laws with that shit, because a lot of places are sick of this shit and they change the laws because paternity fraud and you taking the DNA test and everything, right?
I already got it. Yeah.
And see what the laws and go to your not only go to you, well, you got JAG, but also, yeah, save your receipts, have them lined up, Go to Jag, go to whoever will fight this shit, and say, look, this is criminal. I'm a service member. I married this woman, but this child is not mine. What can you do to help me? Look at all kinds of. Go to whatever organizations you can go to. You're active duty. You're a veteran. You can go. There's somebody out there that can help. Because I think the problem with a lot of these chicks is that they're counting on men not to fight anymore. But now, yep.
Her baby daddy is a service member.
That sounds right.
That gets 100% VA disability. So I pay child support for a kid that is also getting VA disability. But you know what you know what the problem is?
What's that?
VA is federal. Child support is state.
Yep. They can't touch it.
And when I went to the state of Kansas and I was like, hey, this ain't right. They said, hey, Kansas is a no-fault state. You was married to that woman. You put your name on that birth certificate as her husband. There's nothing we can do.
Oh, there's stuff that you could do.
Well, there's something that can be done. Don't buy it.
Don't buy that.
Exactly.
Because
a will is a way.
They just have a lot of shit where they have a lot of shit they want you to fight. They'll demoralize you and say you can't fight it, but you can fight it.
Yeah,
so who should I fight? Should I fight the state or should I fight the federal?
Fight them all.
Fight the state because it's
come on, man.
You gotta fight.
You saying state. Fight them all? Fight them all costs me money.
I know, but Charles is right.
You gotta fight the state because child support is a state issue, not a federal.
Yes, but what about that Social Security? Because while I'm fighting the state, I still am obligated to pay child support.
That's just for the temporary, for the here and the now.
But I'm still paying.
You're gonna pay for the time being. It's gonna be a hit. Sometimes it's like boxing. If you're going into a boxing match, are you gonna get hit? Then when you sue her, make her pay for your lawyer fees and everything else. Hey, Art New Style, can you come up?
So in what world does that work when a woman doesn't have a line of employment?
Any. Especially when you can prove this child is not mine.
Yeah, I got all that. I got the documentation. But guess what the state said? Somebody finna take care of this baby.
You said you're in Kansas?
It should be her.
No, I mean, I'm in Cali. I'm in the military district of California.
Oh, you're in California. Okay.
But the child support is out of Kansas.
Gotcha. That was the question I had for you, sir. The child support's out of Kansas, but you're out in California. Okay.
Yep.
I'm sorry about not having unfiltered. I've been fighting a cold. I was on for a few minutes, and I saw Charles was still live, so I figured I'll hang out here, and then I'm gonna get some tea, put my Cash App up for a few minutes, and then I'm probably gonna call it a night. But this is
just start.
Get well soon.
Just start your unfiltered tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm doing unfiltered. I'm doing an unfiltered this weekend. If I don't do it tomorrow, it's probably not going to be tomorrow because I got a baseball game scheduled, but it will be this weekend, and it's going to get all the way funky with the subject.
Hey, tomorrow, excuse me, Snowman?
Yes.
Do we have Chris Bass on deck tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
Good. All right. But anyway, get well soon. You know, this cold shit, you can't afford to get sick right now, but you got hay fever and shit, right?
Yeah.
You got allergies? Yeah. So
it's the weather. I think part of it's the weather change because it's
probably what it is, yeah.
A month and a half, it was like humid and hot. And then today today it wasn't. And it's been like the last couple of days.
Yeah, that happens. That'll happen.
And
Dude. It'll hit you like
kinda-
that. I've had
it
that
kind of
before.
socked me. It kind of socked me in the nose today, and it really hit me when I was doing my game earlier when I had the Mariners and the Royals, and I just kept sneezing. I even got a cup of tea. I'll have another one tonight, but I'm going to probably crash here in a little bit, work on one project, and then get ready for tomorrow. But I wanted to say thanks to everybody that's up here for being patient with me while I get everything together.
That's all good, man. You get yourself back together, and it's that summer. One thing about summer colds, they a bitch.
Man,
Oh,
I'll be back. I'll be back.
You ain't gonna tell me twice. And this is one of those days. The bad thing is I felt it coming on Monday, but I fought it off. Today, couldn't. After I signed off my morning show, you ever been fighting a cold and you get so much adrenaline and you've been fighting it and fighting it and fighting it, and after you get done like with work or with a project or something, you just go limp.
Yeah,
plenty of times.
Your body just be like, fuck it.
And that's what happened. Like I'd say,
System like overwhelmed. Your immune system's like overwhelmed.
Yeah,
because it's been had to put up. It's like putting up with full court press the whole game up until the final 2 minutes.
Up until the final 2 minutes, and I've reached the final 2 minutes.
I'm gonna say this to mental agility. Look. See, the one thing about a lot of these, shout out to the Grinch, the originator of Strag. Now it's in the English vernacular, which is funny. I hear motherfuckers on Facebook and Instagram using the word, which is funny as shit. And here's the fucked up part about it is, when you're dealing with a goddamn Strag, and shout out to our new style, teacher extraordinaire, you gotta fight like hell. Because a lot of these bitches out here prey off the fact that you're not going to fight, because the more evidence you present, they have to look at it, because once that evidence gets presented, you basically pursue her over that false paternity. And what happens to a lot of niggas is this: they get demoralized for fighting.
Yeah.
And the thing is like
it's a war of attrition.
Sorry to interrupt, Charles.
It's a war of attrition, and you gotta fight. You have to fight. Go ahead, Naaman.
That's what I was trying to get at, because
I have to fight, and when I fight, I spend dollars. But
that's what I'm trying to get at.
She don't have to spend a single dime.
I get what you're saying.
I'm gonna fight and spend dollars and pay child support. And then it's up to me to prove, hey, this shit ain't legit. And then even if I prove this shit ain't legit, the state don't give a fuck about that. The state is like, somebody gotta pay for this baby, because we gonna put somebody getting on child support because she finna get all these other benefits, and we gotta justify this. It don't matter that you in the military. It don't matter that she can go over there, TRICARE, and all this other shit. She still qualifies for Medicaid, so we gotta hit your pockets.
Do y'all know what Occam's razor is?
Yeah.
So honestly, the answer to what you're saying to this problem, it's not one we're gonna say on the stream, but the only way that you can pay. The only way that you're not going to pay that child support until that child is grown is from one of three ways. It's either you convince that woman to take you off of that, which she can, and if she takes you off, depending on the state you're in, she can take you off. If she takes you off 3 times, you're off forever. I know some people who have got off like that. And then the other 2 ways is, who are you going to pay? And these are questions now, because I know where I'm at. My thing is, you can't pay child support if there's no primary custodian to pay it to, and you can't pay no child support if there's no the primary custodian no longer has custody. Now, how you fill in the blanks with that, how you figure that out, it's up to you. But if you're sitting up here waiting on the generosity of the state or the morality of the state,
No,
you that gonna be a
I'm
mistake.
just
I'm gonna ask this
I'm
question
just waiting
because
to turn in my. I'm just waiting to turn in my 2062.
I'm asking this question.
Mm-hmm.
They never gave you custody, did they?
Hell no.
Wow.
So wait a minute. You got a kid that you pay for, and they don't give you custody. Here's a little trick. How old's the kid?
15.
Apply for custody.
Don't work that way. Yeah, if y'all really want to know, if y'all really want to get deep, I'm gonna tell you right now. Shout out to Grinch. I put CPS in my ex-wife life, and that shit stuck. Like she got a whole bunch of fucking restrictions on her. The only reason why she got a whole bunch of restrictions on her is because she brainwashed the kids to be like, I don't want to stay with dad.
Ah.
And they are at the age to where they can say where I want to go.
And how old are they?
17, 15.
Oh, 17, 15? But I'm going to get...
The 15-year-old is a child that's not mine.
Okay. I'm going to get Art New Style in. What's up, Art? What's up, Grinch?
What up? What up?
What's up, y'all?
What's up, Rock New Star?
Hey, what's going on, family, brothers? So I'm over here on my elliptical, so you're gonna hear some heavy breathing.
Understood.
My man getting a Rocky montage.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay consistent with this, man. It's battleground at the job. But
Yeah, totally get that.
the thing, you know, because I don't know. I mean, am I the only like divorce victim on this panel? I guess so.
No.
And I sound like this brother did when it was happening to me. And you have to be a strategist. One of the things that Charles suggested, the way it would go, you would sue for custody. Obviously, you got to have the children on board. But when you try to sue for custody, it kind of forces her to say, "Why does he want them?" And that's not his kid anyway.
It don't work that way.
Okay. Well,
legally, that's my child.
I understand that, but that's probably what she would say on record, right? Not to say that that's going to be the end all be all, but she got to stack up these things against her so she can look like a certain type of, it kind of kills her character a little bit.
Yeah.
The other part too, Dead said, because he's the main one that's kind of like cracked the combination of a lot of stuff without using a lawyer. I would still use a lawyer if it was me, but he took the time to look at all the different laws and different cases, and he got really far with his case. So he's pretty much almost done with it. But the one thing that has been working with him is that he's been taking his case to different counties. And sometimes if you do have an honest lawyer, they know which judges are in favor of men and fathers. So it depends on the judge. If you know any judges that are partial to, fathers' rights and all that kind of stuff, that's when you can go for the juggler. But what it sounds like right now, it's not like you got like a democracy judge. So there's so many ways to crack it, but the easiest way is to have your child or children to say, I want to live with dad. If they say that, you don't need to go to court. You just put in for, I think it's called family law or something like that.
Listen,
so,
he don't even want to go live with his biological dad. Like I've had conversations with his biological dad, and I told him that it's in his best interest to live with somebody that looks like him, And he flat out told his dad he don't want to stay there with him because his dad is ex-military, I'm current military, and we have some of the same values. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we both have structure.
But what I was saying in the chat, like Charles was saying too, like Florida, for example, even though they, they're not in favor of black people in some, some categories, but when it comes to fraud and stuff like that, it'll be a lot in your favor with that. So, because basically when you have someone on record, even on the birth certificate, saying that, you're the father and she's the mother, and she's knowing that you're not the dad, there's going to be a line of questionings that she's going to have to be accounted for. So if she's in the right court, in the right setting to where all that stuff will come out, then you have the upper hand. But it's a matter of finding the right people to help you.
Yeah.
That's the only
Right.
thing that we always have in this situation.
You talking about moving about from California, going all the way down to Florida, finding the right people, the right court, the right
No, that was an
county.
example. That is an example. It could be Texas. It could be anywhere. Hell, it could be Vegas. It's just like whatever court or county that you can find that's in your favor, because basically all your representation has to put in a petition to move it, and most of the time they grant it. You just got to have a good explanation. Most of the time they do.
Yeah.
It's up to you though, brother.
Well, let me step on out of the way. I'm gonna get some tea and I'm gonna crash.
All right, Snowman.
Like I said, I
Get well
plan to
soon.
go on tonight. I had planned to go
All
on
right,
tonight.
Snow man.
I got it. This cold's trying to overwhelm me, so I better lay it down for the night.
Hey.
Okay, man. Take care of yourself.
I will. I'll be drinking some like 4 brands of tea and some emergency tomorrow morning. I know that much.
If you can you chew garlic raw? Can you take that?
I haven't tried it.
Yeah, but you need to do it before you go to bed. Just do like a clove or 2, cut them in half, chew it barely, and take it with your emergency seat, and then try to go to sleep as soon as possible, because when you go to sleep with that garlic in your system, it enables your heart to push you through the situation and help you heal.
Okay.
So
I'll try
that's
that.
the quickest way, but it stinks like hell.
I'll try it. I will definitely try it.
Frozen music is an amazing thing, actually.
Do me a favor, Charles. Throw my Cash App up on the screen, and I'm going to step away. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
So before the chat ends, I just got a quick question. It's 2 parts.
Go ahead.
For men that are above 35.
I'm above 35, I think.
All right.
All right.
How do you maneuver in this landscape if you are not a military veteran that gets a pension? If you don't get a pension, you get a VA benefits, right? So even with the VA benefits, you can move about the globe, right? And you can live the way you want to live. So if you're not one of those guys, how do you operate in the Western landscape to have what we would consider a prominent life?
Number one, you got to do what Art New Style is doing now. It's called health and wealth. You're a military guy, you know that. If your body ain't right, you ain't making no money. That's number one. Number two, have some type of stress reliever, which normally goes back into number one, like exercise and other shit like that. 2, have the skills that pays the bills. Hold on for a second.
And this is brought to you by Frosted Flakes, because they are great. Go ahead, Charles.
But you got to remember that. Number 3, I know that you're a career infantryman, which are great skills because you can actually take that overseas and protect somebody and actually get paid to teach other armies. Get your degree, like you said you were getting in social work. Have something that can carry you on forever. Your trade and your education will take you. Your trade is infantryman. which you can teach those skills to a lot of guys who are like adventure seekers or firearms training, right? Because I'm pretty sure you've been trained on everything from a 50 cal on below, right?
Yep. 50 cal, Mark 19,
Get your,
M4, 249, 203.
yeah. So do what I do. Become a firearms trainer. Where can a firearms trainer train? Everywhere on the planet. Everybody wants to learn how to protect themselves. Monopolize that. Make sure that you have some type of tech and computer savvy skills. Also, this is the one thing I tell people in the Black Manosphere and get on their ass about. Utilize your network. Repeat after me. Utilize your what?
Resources.
Exactly, your network. Remember, you just talked to a captain. That's your connect. He just talked to an E6. That's his connect. There may be some day that he needs something done that you could do for him or he could do for you. You never know how the world works. And the one thing that I say that brothers have a bad habit of doing, 99 times out of 10, they don't utilize their resources. They don't utilize the resources. And if you
That's
don't,
my thing.
Go ahead.
That's my thing, because it's like, besides all of us that have military affiliations, working with government, how else do the other people eat? How else do the other people create residual income to where they can retire? Like, because it's like, that's just a small realm for us. But the vast majority of people, how are they going to put themselves in a position to where they can set themselves up for older age?
Well, that's part of the thing. It's like you got to have a network. You got to have people who can maneuver for you. The one thing about black men we have a problem with is John Henryism. I can do what I can do it by myself. Nobody can do it by themselves. That's like you being an infantry NCO. How many soldiers under your command?
Right now, 9.
9. You got a guy who's a rifleman, a grenadier. You might even have a designated defensive marksman. All their roles are significantly needed, right?
Yeah.
All of them have to be trained on all the other weapon systems, right?
Yep, just in case one man go down.
Exactly. So people think I've never been in combat. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. So you gotta be able. That's how we did it in QRF. I'm the 50 cal gunner, but I also qualified with the SAW. I also qualified with the designated defensive. I also qualified with the MP5 if need be, and the shotgun, and the M9. Same thing. You have to have that powerful network, because there are some things that as men we don't like to admit that we can't do. That why do I have to work so hard? And I could just be like, wait a minute. I had to look at shit before, and I was like, wait a minute. I need to get somebody for this job that I just accepted. Or I need to get somebody from the job that I don't know too many people working. Nigga, one of your best friends is a former police officer, 3 or 4 of them. And then one of your other best friends, he was a former lieutenant in the goddamn police department. You got a network, nigga.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying, because where we are at in our lives today, 401k is not guaranteed. You have to figure out something that's going to create residual income. That's where we are right now. You have to create something that's going to create residual income, so you are not a door greeter at Walmart. Like, a lot of men don't understand that right now. We got to create something for ourselves that's going to profit us after we can't work anymore.
One of the perfect
So I'm going to.
guys to talk to that, because I got to give him his intro. Hold up. Got to give him his intro since he does one for me. Ladies and gentlemen, Are you ready? Art New Style. And God bless Bria Miles. Go ahead, Art.
These damn dumbbells are falling. Oh, but appreciate the intro, I guess. But one of my examples, I don't even know if it applies here, but I think it must be said because I tell all of my students this example. Okay, so some of us play pool, you know, the game of pool. Some of us are good at it. Some of us are horrible at it. Now, most of the time, the ones that are good at it, they pretty much have a good way to put that English on there and make sure they all hit the holes, but not all of them, but just most of them. And then some of us, we might get close there. So the part that I think that may apply to this is that since you know that you're not that good at hitting those balls in the hole every time your turn hits, you got to get them close enough for each time your turn comes. That person that you're playing against that's real good, yeah, they gonna look good. They're gonna do the whole back shot, all that kind of stuff. But it's gonna be that one time where they probably look like they're gonna win and they're gonna mess up that one time. But when your last turn hit, guess what? All your balls are gonna be close to the hole, so we can hit them all in one turn. So in a way, what I'm saying is that it is best to set yourself up at a slow pace. Make sure you're in good position in all these different areas that you may not be good at the time. But when the time is right, that's when you'll be able to go ahead and accomplish your mission based on all the breadcrumbs that you set behind for yourself. That would be a way to maximize your expertise. And also, we're going to assume that you have network on the way up. So I don't know if that applied to what you guys are asking.
I think it definitely did. I think it did.
As in placing the shots.
Got to.
Somebody who's played pool is called placing your shots. Because you got to think. Because anytime you take one shot, you're always thinking of the next shot ahead. So, but what he's saying is basically have them all set up in one place. I remember seeing something like this on a YouTube video. It was a little girl taking on a boy older than her. They were playing checkers. And what Art of Newsall was saying is exactly what she did. You know, she had her all her pieces lined up in one position. The boy was beating her initially. Then she just took one turn and she took out all of his pieces because she was in for the long game. She already had it set up, so she was thinking like several steps ahead, kind of like a chess master has to think about 12 moves ahead. So there is somebody I can think of who talks about his situation. He's ex-military, served in the Navy, and he talks about his life, you know, how he's been able to remain like, although he's technically still married, but he's been able to like find gainful employment while maintaining retirement and whatnot. It's RPM. He's a YouTuber that's still around. Most people might remember him as the sane Madman 103. Mental agility. You ever heard of this YouTuber? RPM?
No. I'm pretty new to this space.
Okay. RPM. He's a former Navy personnel. Did his 20, came back to the States. And he talks about his red pill awakening and what he's been able to do in the past few years to get his life together. Even though he's still technically married, he's been able to live pretty decent. He had a couple of opportunities. He also had gainful employment, but decided to walk away from it because he knew he's not there for the long run, the short term. He's also doing delivery and whatnot. Like you said, nobody wants to be a Walmart greeter. There's a couple. This guy, he's thinking about maybe doing like what's it called, Uber Eats and stuff like that.
Oof.
He's been talking about that,
Is his wife American?
No, she's Japanese. He was stationed in Okinawa,
Smart
but
nigga.
some shit happened. That's why they're kind of separated technically. They're still married, but they live separate lives. But you got to go check his channel. He has videos from all the way back that explains everything. Although he also does stories about certain things. But you got to find the videos that talk about like the strategies he employed.
Okay. My
Unfortunately for
biggest
him,
thing is
because
so I don't want to, because the military is such a small community, right?
Fair enough.
Most of our guys that are in this space, they're not even going to look into the military. And even if they look into the military, you're talking about 15, 20 years down the line. We're talking about how the guys of today can battle. Because I'm a passport bro. I'm gonna keep it honest with you. I'm a passport bro. I got my fiance. She's in Nairobi, Kenya, and I'm planning on I plan on proposing to her when I go back there in December, right? And then get married in June. Spend the rest of my military career with her, and then when I retire in 2026, we are moving back to Nairobi. Right.
I'm gonna tell you what. That's part of your network because she's from that area, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that means once you marry into that family, you got a wealth of resources you got there. And the beautiful thing about the military being a small community, there's certain people who are eligible for certain jobs there. You feel me?
Yeah.
Think about it. You can basically be a consultant for like the Nairobi military.
Yeah.
And people don't
they would love that type of expertise, especially considering in the north they're dealing with some serious shit because they border Somalia and everything and the whole issue over there.
Oh yeah.
So
and trust me, if you got my email address, I'll even drop you my number, Mental. And I'll tell you, when it comes to, it's in the back chat, when it comes to security, take your benefits. There's a few places I'm going to tell you to go. One, when you get out, or if you have time, I don't know if you could go now, but, places like ESI for the executive protection, their PSD, and their defensive marksman. I don't know what you got on the books already. I'm pretty sure it's pretty extensive if you've been there damn near 20 years.
Yeah.
Get those because they'll pay for it because of your 9/11 GI Bill will pay for it. And take that shit as soon as either when you get time or Candy Graham from Mongo. There you go. But I got a text message. But get that executive protection, get that corporate security management. Because when I went there, I'm going back for PSD, even though technically I don't need it because of my QRF background. But I like certifications. I like decorating the walls, as they say. And then
so
go ahead.
That's the reason why I changed my degree. I'm getting ready to graduate a bachelor's in psychology, and then my master's is going to be in social work because they have a U.S. embassy in Nairobi, right? Yeah. So I'm trying to get a GS position or like a GS 10 above, right? And like I'm doing everything that's necessary for me to get a shoe in because rather I get a job there or not, I'm moving to Nairobi.
Oh yeah, because you got to remember the reason why I say do the PSD with a degree, you can be with the diplomatic service.
Yeah, attaché.
Yeah, be with
military attaché.
Be with the diplomatic service. You get the training because I always tell people go to a formal executive protection program. It looks better and you learn all the ins and outs and secrets. And here's another thing that I always talk about, the network. Because I'm an ESI graduate, how many people I can network with across the globe. I just came back with my cousin, part of my network, who does executive protection. And I was staying for 6 days. I was in a $7 million house protecting a rich family.
Excuse me, Charles.
Yep.
Charles.
Yep.
What about our partner up in Germany? Our boy up in Germany, old Brooklyn.
Oh yeah.
We gotta introduce him to mental agility, because I forgot his name, man. His name escapes me. OBK. Huh?
Oh yeah.
Probably Snake or Gyogami, one of them.
Yeah.
No. Gyogami's is Congolese. I said one of our he's ADOS, serves in the diplomatic corps in Germany right now. He's got a daughter
Okay,
over
I
there.
think one of them in Germany too.
You talk about Snake Man.
No,
Snake
not
Man in
Snake Man.
Germany?
He's ADOS. No, Snake Man. No, Snake Man is Nigerian. I said a BK brother, our brother from Brooklyn, who's over there.
You talking about Jay Shine?
Jay Shine.
Jay Shine, yes, please, thank you, Jay Shine, because Jay Shine, he's doing that whole thing over there in Germany, right? He's in a similar position. He's diplomatic corps, correct?
Yeah, he works. He used to be in the army, and he's now on the civilian side.
We gotta get mental agility, his contacts.
Yeah, we do, because I need Jay Shine.
Also, regarding the child custody shit, maybe he could help him out as well. Excuse my shit, French.
He's usually in the Black Brain Trust, so he can probably whenever they go on.
Oh, by the way, mental. And hey, let me ask you a question. Your lady back home, back in Kenya. What's her ethnicity, if I may ask? What's her mother tongue?
I'm gonna head out.
Yeah, she's.
No, I mean, what tribe she belongs? No, she's Kenyan nationality, but I said, like, what is she? Kikuyu, Luo?
She is. Hold on. Let me stop. Hold on. She is.
I'm just
hold on. She is the biggest. She is a part of the biggest tribe in Kenya. There's
That's
like
Kikuyu.
40. Huh?
Kikuyu. That's the biggest tribe in Kenya. Kikuyu.
Yeah.
They're a Cushitic tribe.
Kikuyu. Yeah.
Kikuyu.
I think that.
How's your Swahili, by the way?
How's
your Swahili, by the way? Because you gotta learn that when you come down, when you head there.
Habari. Asante.
Asante is
Asante is thank you.
Asante is okay, but
Habari is hello.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
or Jumbo.
Yeah, that's where we at. But because I'm in class right now, I'm going to school for abnormal psychology right now. But I've ran out of my tuition assistance, my TA. Mm-hmm. So that means, until October 1 come up, I don't get recharged. So that means that I'm going to miss the next term. So that means that I won't go to school for the next 10 weeks. And I got my book, and I'm learning the vowels of Swahili, So she told me learning the vowels is the hardest part. So, I'm learning the vowels, and then we're gonna work towards the Swahili. When I move to Nairobi, I will be speaking Swahili fluently.
God willing.
God willing.
Sorry, I'm a religious person like that. Not that religious, but it is what it is.
She's Catholic, so I don't know how that works.
It'll work as long as you two work.
Yeah. But she Catholic, Roman Catholic? Okay. Well, Irish Catholic maybe, because the Catholics there were Irish most likely, because British colony and everything.
I'm just wondering. Hey, mental agility. Do you think this was a very fruitful conversation?
Oh, very, 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 very. So it's like this right here. I'm very entrenched. Rather y'all know it or not, I'm very entrenched into the RP space, right? Because Charles, I met you through BGS. I also met Edward Anderson through BGS. I've dealt with O'Shea. I found my woman through the Pan-African dating show,
Okay.
And when I was in Nairobi, we got on to the Pan-African dating show to just get a testimony. I'm the only brother from the States that met a woman in Nairobi and actually went to meet her. And then, we got on the show to give our testimony. Like, y'all guys will see, because I know this is like towards the left, the far side of the RP. All these guys over here, I consider you guys more black pill than anything. But
it is what it is.
In December, when I go back to Nairobi, I will propose to my woman, and it will be on the Pan-African dating show, because I just want to raise awareness to brothers to let them know there are other alternatives to finding a wife, because I want a wife. And just like
if you find a
Charles
decent wife, hey, if it works out over there, then it works out over there. Nobody to complain about it,
And just like Charles knows, right? Charles knows, being in the military, you can get all type of procedures done, and it's free because there's service members operating on you. I'm gonna tell both of you gentlemen right now, I reversed my vasectomy.
Oh,
yeah. Hey. And before I found the red pill, I thought marriage was done. I thought it was done. And if it wasn't for SYSBM, and if it wasn't for staying true to the space, and then it wasn't for the space creating passport bros, I didn't think that there was another option.
You got to think about it. I'm an old school military guy. Everything must have a mission and a purpose. If you're not getting married, you got to excuse the noise. My son's putting dishes away. I cooked, he put the dishes away. Shit. And you got to realize.
Make sure they're clean, boy. Just fucking with him.
He laughing. But, it's funny. You always have to have a purpose. If you're going to get married, tell me your purpose. Because I said the same thing to V last year. You get married, you got to have a purpose. If your marriage is to bring forth, a good, solid relationship and good kids, you're doing good. But if you're marrying just for love and only love, and there's no stability there, then you're losing out, man.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Not to mention, when you marry into an African family, being that you're an outsider, they will have expectations, but they will also have certain misconceptions. So have you met her parents, first of all?
Yes, I have. I met her mother.
How are they with you?
Oh, listen, when I came there, they treated me like a king. Her grandmother, she spoke words that her mother and my girl, which was her granddaughter, did not even know that she knew. And then all the ladies went inside the house to talk to my girl, and her grandmother co-signed with her mother, and she told her I was a blessing.
Wow.
If that's the case, all I can say is, brother, keep your eyes as well as your ears open at all times. Love your woman. Remember, like Patrice O'Neal used to say, it's better to understand them than love them, because sometimes logic and emotion can't be in the same, because our logic and emotion can never occupy the same space in your mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Now, I feel you on it. But how does that work when you're dealing with women outside of Western culture?
Well, you never want to be red pill for Western women and blue pill for women outside the Western world.
Exactly.
Wait. The tone, and shout out to Edward Anderson. The proper quote is, you don't want to be red pill for black women and white pill for, you don't want to be red pill for black women and blue pill for white women.
Guess who gave Ed that quote?
Yours truly.
I gave him that quote many moons ago. I said that's the problem. I said that's the problem, is that you should love your wife, you should respect your wife, but it's also reciprocity. Remember, like, Mr. O'Neill once said, a man's supposed to respect a woman and also Bernie Mac, but a woman is supposed to give.
If I may,
give him something to respect. And
no, it wasn't. No, that was Bernie Mac actually.
Yeah, that's right.
It was Bernie who said, "Sorry, Charles, for interrupting, but it was Bernie Mac who said it's a man's job to respect a woman. It's a woman's job to give that man something to respect." Secondly, another thing he also said was this: money attracts the girls you want. Struggle attracts the woman you need.
Mm-hmm.
Should I repeat that for the motherfuckers in the back?
Please do.
Money attracts the girls you may want, but struggle attracts the woman you will need. Because if she gonna be a ride or die, she gonna be, true to you. She gotta be straight up with you.
And if you got somebody who's gonna be the ride or die,
In fact, I got a better example of that. The ride or die. It was a meme.
Can I speak to that? Can I speak to that?
Just a moment, mental. Let me just. There was this meme I remember I had of it. Was Crazy Bones sitting on a table with chessboard right in front of him, right? Some pieces, and the caption says, "If she doesn't understand the importance of protecting the king, she doesn't deserve to be the queen." And this is chess. The queen's primary role on the chessboard is to protect the king. She can move anywhere on the chessboard, but she has to protect the king. She may even have to sacrifice herself just to protect him. But go ahead.
So I was about to say this, right? We have to understand the culture in which she lives in, right? So when I came into the city, right? I made my presence known. I'm not a small guy. I stand about 6'4", right? I came in.
Oh, you're a big man.
Yeah, I came in, and you gotta bear gifts when you come into the city, right? So when I came into the city, I bought her mother a 55-inch TV, right? And it was about 4,500. It was about 5,100 shillings. 5,100 shillings is roughly $300, right? So, bam, bought that. I set the precedence right then. But before then, when my girl met me, she told me that the family cooked a dish for me. They made a beef stew and all this other stuff, right? And when I finally got to the house, because we had to go to my apartment, get everything set up, all that other stuff, put the clothes down. And then when we came to the house, right? When I came into the front door, no shit, the entire family stood up.
Of course, because they have to stand up to greet you.
Yeah. And it didn't even just stop at the house. When we went out to the village to meet her grandmother, right?
Yep.
The grandmother greeted me, stood up, and they didn't want me to do anything. They just wanted me to sit back and relax, and they took care of everything. And it's like, even when it came to killing the chicken before we ate it, they wanted me to sit back and relax. I'm like, no. I went back there with the grandson, and we both slit the neck of the chicken together, and we put the bird in the boiling water. We plucked the feathers together, and then once you pluck all the feathers away, you give the bird to the ladies.
Yep.
They gut it, they chop it up, and then they cook it and all that other stuff. And then after that point, I just sat back, and that's when her grandmother told her, "You have somebody special. He loves you, and you are blessed. Hold on to him." So it's
better
like,
not let him go. Do not let him go. He's a
Yeah,
blessing, a more than in. Well, sorry, that's the wrong accent I'm using. That's South African.
yeah, but it was
Excuse me.
close. It was close. So,
Yes.
I mean, here's the deal.
So,
I mean, I created a foundation to what I want. Like I told her, I'm U.S. citizen. She gonna come over here, and in 2024, we gonna go back in Nairobi in 2026. You know, she's gonna have dual citizenship. You know, so I mean, it's just it's a perfect situation for me. But I know most men do not qualify for that. But
shit.
most men want to be married, man. They want to be married. They want the life. They want in house, just like I want in house. And I got a beautiful lady, beautiful lady. I'm telling you, she is 29. I'm 39. She told me that I was her fourth serious relationship, right? So
And she get tested and everything.
listen, when I got there, she told me she wanted to get tested.
Good answer.
Yeah. She
I mean, there's a reason I'm saying all this because I'm originally further north from there.
Okay.
I'm from that region actually, just further north in the Horn of Africa is where I'm from. So.
Oh, near Djibouti.
Further north from Djibouti. They're neighbors to the north along the Red Sea.
Ethiopia.
No, the other one.
Eritrea.
Eritrea.
Or Eritrea, some people say.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, because like in Eritrea, like I'm sure in Ethiopia, whenever couples decide to get married, it's mandatory that they get tested for STDs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And especially HIV being what it is, and so it's only natural that she wants to make sure everything's on the open up, everything's clean, nobody's got nothing to hide. And the fact that you willing to if you plan to have children with her, well, it's a good thing you got the reverse vasectomy. Just don't rush. Just don't rush.
No, I'm not.
But yeah, it's just like it's a good thing she decided to get tested. Just make sure everything was on the open up.
Mm-hmm. She's the one for me, man. It's like I got a lot of buddies that are like, and bro, let me tell you something. When I went down there to Kenya, when I went down there to Nairobi, my God. Oh my God. Like
there's a lot of beautiful women there.
There's a lot
Some
of
them aren't even from there either. They're from other neighboring countries.
The booty. The booty. Oof. Oof. Like a lot of these brothers that's just stuck in America and they never left a freaking city, right? If you get away from America and you can experience that, your mind will be blown.
I think that's part of the fear is the unknown, but men are supposed to challenge the unknown, and that's where it goes.
You'd be surprised how many brothers on Discombobble when they went down to South Africa.
Yeah.
All that nyash. You see all the nyash, all these African American men, they lose their mind when they see the nyash. We're like, it is what it is. But I understand. This is the first time for you to see it. For me, it's normal. Absolutely normal.
No, listen, when I was down there in Nairobi and I seen all the nyash, I was I lost it. But the brothers that are down there in Kenya that are in Nairobi, it's normal because they see the nyash.
Yeah, it's normal to them. They see it. They see it every day. There's a lot of fine ass women over there, but there's some also busted up women over there too.
Listen,
anywhere you go,
I seen women that were homeless, that were laying down on cardboard boxes, and they were laying on their bellies, and then you see them as you're driving by in the Bolt or the Uber, right? And like Nash just hanging out in the air, just Nash everywhere.
Hey.
Yep.
I'm sure it'll look a whole lot better after some soap and water.
Yes, and I said if I did not have my girl, I would have. If I did not have my girl, I would have 4 wives. 4 wives. 4.
I'm gonna just tell everybody, You know, that's a wonderful thing. May you have many blessings with your
Mm-hmm.
significant other, and may not only the engagement but the marriage be a blessing to not only you and her but the world. And we're gonna do final thoughts. So we're gonna start with mental agility. Please don't be a stranger. Come back again.
Yes, I will, and I will donate. Continue to donate. So, final thoughts. This panel took a interesting turn, right? I'm glad. I'm glad it ended where it's supposed to end, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just want brothers to open their minds to expand their horizons, think outside of the county, the city that they live in, and hopefully they'll find a way out of no way. Because if you knew my story, your mind would be blown. But
Mm-hmm.
I figured it out, and I just hope the next man does the same.
Exactly. Name my final thoughts.
My final thoughts is this: as the only person who could tell you from the inside looking out, as well as on the outside looking in, if you're going to do the passport bro route, make sure the person you're racking with is on the up and up. Because I can tell you guys got ratchets in your where y'all at, but you ain't seen the ratchets that are outside. They make the ratchets inside look kind of like tamed. So you have to be sure that that woman is on the up and up. She's 100% on board and not faking the funk or what put her on the mask. Because once you bring her into the States, she could do the 180. Next thing you know, it's going to be like Eddie Murphy Raw. Eddie, Eddie, I want to talk to you. You don't want to have Umfufu become, do the 180 on you. But anyway, Charles, I just want to say you ain't shit, and God bless you for it.
Woo! Never claimed to be. I love it.
Ooh, yeah.
I think this is another classic namer. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we need to give everybody their walking song. See? And who said, and notice, we barely even touched the gynocracy. Woo! I love it. We barely talked about the gynocracy, man. For all you, thank you for everybody donating. Thank you to V. Thank you to Mental Agility. Good service members, please support our service members. God knows we need them more than ever,
You
especially
know
the women.
what? I
Huh?
just also want to add one more thing. Let's not forget. Let's give a shout out to all the reservists,
Mm-hmm. Reservists and
except
National
for
Guards.
National Guard, and of course this branch right here. That whose
Corps,
emblem? Oh no, USACE. My
Army
dad
Corps,
served with them 13 years with them. God rest his soul. And I'm still a hard hat baby no matter what.
uh, Army Corps of Engineers. A salute to your dad. May he rest in peace, paradise, and power.
Thank you.
Woo!
I know he is.
Tell the family I have nothing but praying hands and bowing heads towards them, and may his peaceful embrace to the Lord give the
Mhm.
peace to your family as well.
My mother thanks you, as the rest of my family does, brother. Stay safe.
You too.
Peace be with everyone. Bye.
Be safe. Come back again. Now, for everybody's walking music, here we go. Give me a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.